Good evening. I'd like to call the Plan Commission special hearing of January 3rd, 2024 to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. The Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please. Hurry. We got 2 meetings tonight.
Hey. Mr. Becker?
Here.
Mr. Parker?
Here.
Mr. Carnahan?
Here.
Mr. Hunley?
Here.
Ms. Betzauer? Present. Mr. Wilkening is absent. Mr. Kapora?
Present.
Mr. Oliphant?
Here.
Mr. Austin?
Present.
Ms. Abernathy? Present. Ms. Hyduk is present.
Good. First, we've got some new faces up here, so I'd like to congratulate the 2 new members. Well, one isn't here, Jerry Wilkening, but Chuck anyway. Chuck's had experience up. He spent, 6-7 years up here. How many? 7. And he just got elected to the town council, as everybody probably knows, but I'm welcoming Chuck. Greg just got put on the town council, and he was appointed back to the commission, which I'm glad to see, as well as Mr. Hunley there, whose term was up, and the commission appointed him back to another term here on the commission, so I was happy to see that. So, welcome to the new members, or the reappointed members. Okay, first order of business is nomination and appointments of officers. I need a nomination for president.
I'll make a motion to nominate John Kapora.
I second it.
No room for me to say anything, so all right.
Guess I'm popular. Motion by Mr. Carnahan, seconded by Mr. Hunley. Any other nominations? If not, nominations are closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Betzauer? Yes. Mr. Kapora?
Yes. Motion carried, 6-0. Vice President, I need a motion for the Vice President.
I'm going to nominate Jerry Wilkening.
Have a nomination for Jerry Wilkening.
I'll second that.
Seconded by Heather Deschauer. Any other motions, nominations? Seeing none, nomination for Vice President is closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Betzauer? Yes. Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Chairman, the term for Mr. Wilkening should commence when he is sworn. He will be sworn soon.
Okay, yeah,
It's effective upon his being sworn in.
okay. So everybody understand that? He hasn't been sworn in yet, so, okay. All right, now I need a nomination for secretary.
Who was secretary last year?
Rick Sharp. Basically, the secretaries will be signing the Mylars along with the president when they're ready to be recorded down at the courthouse. Or
Heather, would you like it?
Yeah, sure.
Nominate Heather Detzauer.
I second it.
have a nomination for Ms. Deschauer, seconded by Mr. Hunley. Nomination by Mr. Carnahan. Any other nominations? Nominations are closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Betzauer? Yes. Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. On appointments, we need to make an appointment to the Board of Zoning Appeals.
I'd like to nominate Jim Hunley.
Have a nomination for Jim Hunley to the zoning board.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Becker. Any other nominations? Nominations closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hunley?
Yes.
Ms. Betzauer? Yes. Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 6-0. Congratulations, Jim. And I need a nomination for, appointment for on-site building department.
I make a motion to be Heather.
I'll second it.
You two want to get together. Motion made by Mr. Hundley for Heather Deschauer and seconded by Mr. Carnahan. Any other nominations? If none, nominations closed. Roll call, please.
Mr. Becker?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Carnahan?
Yes.
Mr. Hundley?
Yes.
Ms. Dessauer?
Yes.
Mr. Kapora?
Yes, motion carries 6-0.
Incidentally, she'll be joining Rich Teal and Jeff Beal on that board this year.
Oh, good. Good.
I look forward to it.
Do I have, Dave, do I have to go over the updates on the agenda here, or are we gonna do that?
You can do that at the other, backside.
That's the other one, right?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, this meeting is adjourned.
Public comment.
Doesn't have it on the,
It is public comment.
Yeah, it's on here.
there is?
Yes. Just before adjournment.
Oh, yeah. Just a minute. Oh, yeah, there it is. Any public comment? Any public comment?
If anybody online wants to speak, please raise your hand.
Nobody?
Nope.
Nobody here? Okay, public comment is closed. This meeting is adjourned. Okay, we're gonna move right into the Plan Commission work session of January 3rd, 2024. Roll call was done at the other meeting, now same members are present, so we're gonna forego that. And we'll go to number 1, Colbar site plan, petitioner Stephen Colbar, 828 Davis Street, Suite 300, Evanston, Illinois, 60201. Owner is CWK Property, Cedar Lake LLC, 7949 West 79th Street, Unit 2, Bridgeville, Illinois, 60455. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for a site plan for a 2-unit restaurant. Who do we have here? Anybody here?
I don't believe we've gotten anything new. Our original letter from October 26th is still outstanding. We've reached out to them on multiple occasions to try to discuss any necessary improvements to Schneider and 133rd. Haven't heard Pete.
Yeah, and they were gonna figure out what they wanted to do at Osborne there too.
Yeah, I mean, in my understanding, they're not gonna have an entrance, sorry, Osborne, not Schneider. They're not gonna have an entrance there, but we haven't received any updates since that October letter went out, so it's been quite a while.
Mr. President,
Yes.
they did send a updated, site plan that should be, just after the application in your packet, that they are showing they took away the Osborne entrance. And I know he came in this afternoon and paid for his BZA applications. I'm not sure why he's not in attendance now.
Okay.
Wasn't the concern with this the semi-traffic or the delivery traffic in and out? Isn't that what you were talking about Osborne to begin with?
Yeah,
Well-
the original site plan did show an access point off Osborne, so we were concerned about that. The current condition of Osborne, potentially installing a turn lane to make it a left and right out of
Yeah.
there. We tried to reach out to Mr. Colbar, to basically get contact for his engineering firm, and we don't have a direct contact with them to discuss potential, any kind of alignment to the intersection, how much it would cost. But now he's kind of swung to this alternative. So yes, this is different than our original review. It's the first time I've seen it.
Okay.
And just so the public's aware, this is for Jet Pizza and Wingstop.
Right.
There's somebody online, I don't know if he's associated with it, that's raising his hand if you want him to talk.
Is it about this?
I don't know.
I'll ask him.
Troy, you should be able to talk now.
Is this time for the public comment period,
No.
or did I miss?
That was, the public comment for the first agenda item was closed. There will be a public comment at the end of this agenda.
Oh, okay. And that's a general public comment?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So I'm gonna take your hand down. If you want to speak again, just put it back up and I'll let you talk again.
Okay, thank you.
So we're gonna try to reach out to these people again. Without them being here, they would have to be act on the agenda for next month's work session.
Yep.
Correct? So that's what we'll do. Any comments on that?
Yes, sir.
No? Okay. Item number 2, Bank Shot Bar and Grill, rezone and preliminary plat. Owner petitioner, Bank Shot Bar and Grill, Inc., 875 Berkshire Place, Creed, Illinois, 60417, vicinity of 8120 Lakeshore Drive, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner is requesting to rezone for B2 to a commercial plan unit development, PUD, and the preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision. We have anybody here for that?
Yes, Mr. President, members of the commission, Attorney Adam Sword here via Zoom for the petition. I
Okay.
appreciate you guys allowing me to attend via Zoom as COVID struck our house here the last couple of days. But this was an important meeting and we wanted to be present tonight. And I thank Ashley and town staff for the opportunity to remote in for this evening. So you have before you, we submitted around the holidays a 21-page rendering set for the latest concept, with the first 2 pages being 2 review looks at the layout configuration of the site, which we've had several meetings on related to concerns over traffic circulation, both internal and external to the site. And I asked the team to get creative here since we are looking for doing a PUD. We have a difficult triangular type site. And so taking a, what I would call a traditional approach to all the parking inside of the site, maximizing that, working on the flow issues, and taking some of Don's comments that was provided in the letter a few months back to make that work and see how we could maximize parking, get the dumpster corral, which is on the west side of the building. And then, again, still addressing the fact that this is a primary corridor, high visibility. We want the buffer between the Lakeshore Drive traffic, the restaurant, and then this awkward space, small space between the building and the sidewalk and the public improvements. So the first page that we have before you is kind of that traditional plan. There's a total of 23 parking spaces with this configuration, 15 what we call the normal spaces. We still kept the 4 motorcycle golf cart, we call them, I think the last meeting, somewhat flex hybrid spaces. Those are in the southwest corner near the intersection of Foster Drive and Lakeshore Drive. And again, meeting the 180 accessible space requirement, with 3 of the total spaces being parallel on the north side of the site. So what this concept also does is address the concerns that we've heard at the meetings and input from everybody about how do we eliminate the potential for increased traffic conflict from vehicular movement on Lakeshore Drive. Both of these concepts, this one included, completely eliminate the eastern side of the site, egress from parking. So everything is coming through a 24-foot entrance, which is annotated with a call out on that first page off of Foster Drive. So all the vehicular circulation will be off of the side street, and we did that intentionally. So that's the first concept that we looked at, again, taking more of a traditional approach and addressing some of these concerns, seeing what the parking count would yield, and I'll get into the number of seating for the general site, or the internal site configuration and renderings that we have as part of this presentation as well. But first I want to go into the second site plan, which I'm going to call kind of let's think outside the box. This is a PUD. We're obviously going to be looking at doing some kind of written agreement with the town We kind of took to heart some of the comments that we had both during the meeting, and I had some folks come up to me after the meeting, talking about the desire of this area being more walkable, more pedestrian friendly, whereas right now it's just kind of pavement edge to pavement edge, and I know that the ultimate vision here is to kind of carry the road improvements from the roundabout to the east further west. So we wanted to, again, completely look at an option here of how do we maximize parking, also create a further buffer design, and really improve the pedestrian aspect to the site given the proximity of the building and the right of way. And so that resulted in this concept where we're yielding 28 total parking spaces. 13 of those would be the normal spaces again keeping the 4 motorcycle golf cart hybrid spaces, 1 ADA space on the northeast side of the building, but then incorporating additional parallel spaces not only along the north side of the property interior to the site, but also several spaces along Lakeshore Drive and kind of creating a parking area that acts not only as a buffer, but also will naturally act as a traffic calming device as people are coming down off the roundabout, because now you're going to have some cars parked out along the street front. And I don't know about you, when I'm driving Lakeshore Drive in the few areas where there's parking along the street, more apt to slow down. If somebody's going to pull out or a kid's going to jump out between cars. So this was the outside the box thinking again, completely removed the eastern ingress, egress, everything is through the 20-foot entrance off Foster. I know from reviewing these with our client and the team, they really like this concept, and the added advantage is obviously it gets us to a higher number of parking spaces, which is akin to similar recent developments of restaurants that also have similar site constraints around Lakeshore Drive. In some instances, we're exceeding some of the parking of those recent projects with this concept. And I forgot to mention on the first concept, we're kind of on par in that target area between 20 and 25 spaces of some of the more recent developments here in town. So with that, I was going to kind of just go through rather quickly. We have a rendering set here, but probably more importantly for this discussion on parking and capacity is page 3, which is the main floor plan with the table seating. This is also the floor that would have the 4 pool tables, and kind of showing you what the thought would be for the layout configuration between high top tables, bar seating along the north side of the building, how the internal circulation would work from people coming in and going out to go up to the rooftop, or downstairs in the basement where all the services are at for the kitchen. And so to kind of understand that, page 4 gives you a bird's eye perspective of that floor plan rendered out as to some of the design concepts that, if the project were approved, that they want to try and incorporate into this location with this building. And then the 5th page is just an opposite view over by the stairwell that would go up to the outdoor seating, which we'll get into that floor plan in a minute, just to give you another perspective of that first floor layout. And then there's a couple, page 6 and 7, again, just different views between lighting and how that space functions from a flow standpoint, number of seating, and what they would really like to do on this main floor. And I believe number 8 is also another perspective of that from the opposite corner of the building, which would be the northeast corner. With that, page 9 then is the floor layout for what is considered the rooftop. Again, this is all essentially high top seating with an exception of a couch seating area over in the southeast corner for a more informal style of dining or entertainment or interaction. I don't think the floor plan here really does this concept justice because of what they want to do as far as amenities and visual aesthetic, that one can be seen from the street, but also from the users of that site. And so page 10 is a rendering of what this space would look like in a nighttime environment with various sunshades that obviously function during the day, but some of the treatments that they're looking at doing for this location. And again, walking you kind of through different perspectives on pages 11, 12, and 13 from different areas of that rooftop seating area. Just quickly, I wanted to go over what is shown in these floor plans and what you saw in the renderings, just from a seating standpoint. The main floor, because of the pool tables between all seating regardless of configuration, is 32 seats. The rooftop actually has a significant number of 54 seats with how the count works for the layout. Obviously, with the town standard of, one space for every 2 patron seats, it's a significant parking requirement. It comes out to 43 spaces. And then 2 which would have to be ADA, which we can't achieve at this site. And that's kind of the elephant in the room. So wanted to show at least what we can do from a maximum seating standpoint, ideally what they would like to do from a layout and the flow of the site, both internally and externally, how those things would work together. And then really just for informational purposes, the remaining pages in the rendering set are of the service level of the property with the kitchen. They do have a flex space room down there that if they were going to have a private event and close the building, they could provide for that down there. That's kind of an idea they had to make use of the rest of that space. Again, I can potentially add some seats, but that would not be open and utilized during regular restaurant hours, utilizing the main floor and the top floor. It'd be for private parties only. So with that, I know we had submitted this in advance of the meeting to the fire department, maybe to possibly get some comments and feedback back on the proposed parking and circulation, some of the safety concerns in addition to occupancy, and maybe how that drives the discussion on number of parking spaces. I guess I would defer to Ashley if there's been any input received back, because I don't believe I received anything back in writing or by email here over the holidays.
I have not received anything back from fire chief or deputy fire chief regarding occupancy at this time.
So again, proposal that we would like to pursue and get some feedback on and see if this would even be feasible would be that second concept on page 2, outside the box. I think it really does justice to the site, the aesthetic that they're going for, the environment that they want to create at this location, and the added benefit of increasing the total number of parking at this location.
The biggest problem I see here is, number one, is parking. You have, what, 23 spots down there?
Yeah, 23 on the first concept and then 28 on the second concept.
28, but 4 of those or 5 of those are for motorcycles or what have you. So I don't really consider those too much in the middle of this time of year.
Can I say something, John?
Yes.
I think the parallel parking off Lakeshore Drive is a non-starter. It's,
I'm not crazy about that myself. I mean,
it's too fast. You have people stopping, backing up traffic. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and I wanted to ask Chief Fisher about it too, what his thoughts were on it, but I agree that parking on the street in front there is bad.
I mean, and my issue with the whole, we want to see development work, but we're taking an existing structure that probably had limited tables, and now we're making it probably twice as dense.
Yeah.
And not have even half, not even close to half the spots that are required. 28 spots, yeah, but only 13 are normal sites. It's not even close to meeting it. If this thing does well, you're going to be parking streets, you're going to be parking cars down Foster in the neighborhoods. I don't know how this moves forward.
Well, the other problem, which last time they were coming in off of Lakeshore and going out on the Foster, and we really don't want businesses using residential streets.
Yeah,
so if the only entrance and exit now is off of Foster, that creates a lot of traffic, at least at the start of Foster there, so there would have to be something to keep the cars from going further north.
To go around through the neighborhood, decline, and now you got potentially,
see a lot of problems.
There's 2 houses right there, then you have cars shining their lights into that house at all hours of the night. Who knows how long they're going to be open. And then we throw a party room at the bottom. I don't know how you control that. I know Adam said that would only be used when the other parts aren't open, but how do you control that? How do you not have a private party when they're open? I mean, it's too dense. It just is.
Very challenging piece of property here.
By the way, Wilking's here, I don't know if you want to bring him up. Jerry Wilking.
Did he get sworn in?
It's one, yeah.
It's a work session, he could vote on anything. He can get acclimated though. It's in the back corner.
Jerry, you wanna come up, have a seat?
Sure.
Well, I don't know where we go, I don't like using Foster for in and out, and I don't like the parking on the street, and there definitely is not enough parking space, so I don't know where they go from here.
I feel like we're reversing right now.
Pardon?
Last time we were concerned about traffic and parking, and now we see a concept plan with more seats,
I feel like it got denser.
and it got denser. Yeah,
That doesn't work.
and I don't want to address the elephant in the room, but I will, that this building has been sitting vacant, and
More than 6 months.
we're going on 3 years,
Yeah.
Craig, what did we talk
Oh,
about?
yeah, the use is
2
gone.
years in November, I think.
Yeah. I feel like we're reversing here with this. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's not the right spot
I
for
like
it.
the plan, but it doesn't fit on the property.
No.
I guess one of the issues for me, Adam, is, Heather touched on it. I mean, it appears to be a pretty dense activity with the least amount of parking spaces. So it's almost like you're inviting more people to the party, but you don't have any place to park them.
Sure, understood. Again, wanted to look at what in maximum they could do here, and have the open discussion as to, obviously, the consensus is this is too much. And so basically what it boils down to is if they have a concept and a layout here between the main floor and the top floor, and limit the number of seating only per the code, for the district, per the parking standard, then that would probably be on par with requiring parking that, exceeds what was even there prior from the number of occupancies from what I've been advised as to the users of the old Colbar location. So, I mean, if it's a simple numbers aspect of reducing the number of seats, that's an easy solution. You just cut out seating until we get to a happy medium. I think first and foremost, not to get hung up on what we could potentially do here internally is this is what we can do from an exterior standpoint. In fact, it's what maximum anybody could do from an exterior standpoint for parking at this site. So if we're stuck with just the traditional approach, the first page here that has 23 parking spots, regardless of the configuration, then that drives the only uses that could ever be looked at for this property, which is significant limitation for the use of that building. So, I mean, if we're gonna just look at a 1-to-2 parking ratio and that dictates the number of seats in there, I guess at this point, I would just like to know that. Part of the reason we're kind of looking at this as a PUD is one, you have to have an alcoholic beverage permit to operate here, which triggers the need for a variance, so that puts us right in the PUD, and then just the unique nature of the site, which is the parking and circulation issue. So, wanted to show maximum what we can do here from a parking standpoint. If it's just an occupancy for the number of spaces, then I guess I kind of just need to get a sense for what would we be looking at as far as a reduction in parking for this site, other than whatever the current town standard is for one space for every 2 seats, which, seems excessive for me, especially for some of the locations that I go to, that have very limited parking, but it works. I mean, they're packed and we get in and out safely, and it has some similar characteristics to this site. So I'm just kind of looking for some guidance here, so we can maybe come back with something that might work.
I mean, I don't wanna get too far on the other side of this. Obviously, everybody wants something done with this site. But it leads us into, with the number of seats, especially for summer type activity, well, we know if this place gets full or becomes popular, which I hope that it does, but what's the long-term parking solution? In my mind, it almost is going, I mean, if they wanna do something like this or grow it to something like you're proposing, almost is gonna require, and I don't know if they've pursued that or not, and it's certainly not my job to advocate for that, but maybe acquiring another piece of property in the area and making the correct number of parking, because this proposal kind of invites that, we know we don't have the parking to handle the amount of capacity for the rooftop and the rest of it in the event of its regular activity. Well, we know that we're gonna have people parking along the street. I guess the best case scenario is they park down at the lake access after dark, when it's not being used, and pedestrian down there, but I don't know if I'm sure that's not a good plan for public safety either. Either way, regardless, I think police and fire both have to weigh in on this concept. But, I think property acquisition is really the best solution for this.
Sure.
If they're gonna have, pool leagues or pool tournaments, they're gonna draw more than 23 people for the parking spots. Pool leagues, usually 4 tables, they'll have 20-some people right there in the league.
Well, there's not even really 23 spots, there's 15, because the others are for golf carts. Which is even more.
Did you count the bar stools in your parking calculation? Because you gotta count those in too, because you're gonna have people sitting on
I'm
those.
sorry, was that a question for me?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, so those numbers that I told you for the seating, those include, that's total seating, regardless of the composition, bar stools, high tops, couches. That's what's shown in the render.
Then you said currently it's 54 spaces?
Provided, which is, and I,
15.
No, how many are actually required for what you?
Oh, there's 86 seats, so 43 spots.
We're not even in half.
43 spaces, yeah, per the code.
Plus you got employees.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not even 50% at this time. I don't even know why we're discussing this. I mean, we gotta get something that's remotely close to even consider it. Like, I don't understand what's going on here.
I agree.
Heather made a good point. I feel like we're going backwards. Like, I get it, Adam, you wanna see what you can get, but you're not even in the same realm right now.
I think they need to go back, take a strong look at what they have there, figure out how many seats they want in there, and figure out if they have the parking for it, and go from there. If it's gonna exceed the amount of parking allowable, then the answer's gonna probably be no.
Well, the lower level seating should still be factored into the parking, whether they're gonna be there during daytime or nighttime or at 2 o'clock in the morning.
All of it should be.
Those, every seat has to be included in
Whether
there.
it's across.
Mr. President,
Yes.
No.
I did do calculations based off of the rooftop, the rooftop, the first floor, and the basement. Altogether, that would be 53 parking spaces. The rooftop would be 27, the first floor would only need 16, and the party room would be a minimum of 10. Altogether, that comes to 53,
So now we're at 53 instead of 43.
including the party room and the basement.
Right, which we have to include, right? That's what we've always done.
That would be my interpretation of the ordinances, even if it's not being used. If it's proposed as having that seating, we have to have the parking lot.
So now we're at 53 spots that we would normally require, and we have 15.
Yeah. Well, I think, Adam, I think, the owners here need to get together and figure out what they wanna do here, and, we're not gonna spend any more time tonight talking about something that's not gonna happen tonight, or next week, or 2 weeks. So, my suggestion is that, go back to the owners, tell them they gotta cut it down to meet town codes and ordinances. Otherwise, doesn't look like they can do anything there, at least not this concept.
Sure.
Okay?
Yeah, so, and so that I just understand that, then the requirement is, one spot for every 2 patrons. There's no discussion on reduction of parking whatsoever, other than what the code requires.
No, because you know you're going to exceed the parking anyway. Guys, we tell you it's gonna be 30 spots, and is what you need, you know it's gonna wind up being 36, 40 on busy nights, hot summer nights, what have you, so no.
Okay.
You're correct, so that's my suggestion, and we're gonna move on to the next item here, and you can go back, to the owners and give them that message, and I appreciate your time.
All right, thank you, Mr. President, thank you, members.
You're welcome. Bye now.
You're welcome.
Bye.
Number 3, Blue Sky Concept Plan. Owner, Regional Holdings, Inc., 425 Julia Street, Dyer, Indiana, 46311. Petitioner, Kevin Pasco, Olthoff Homes, 8051 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Vicinity of 14517 Parish Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for the proposed Blue Sky development.
Good evening. Kevin Pasco of Olthoff Homes, 8051 Wicker Avenue, St. John, Indiana. I'm here tonight for our 3rd concept plan presentation for our Blue Sky development. It's been a few months since I last presented, so I'll go ahead and give a brief summary of the project thus far. The property is an approximately 80-acre parcel at the intersection of 141st Avenue and Parish Avenue, and it completed the annexation process in October and received A agriculture zoning. We're currently pursuing a PUD rezone for the property to enable us to have a variety of housing products, single-family detached homes and villas, and then single-family attached paired cottages. There's also 2 park areas proposed, one on the north and the south end, full sidewalk network, walking trails, connectivity to Rose Garden Estates, landscape berming along 141st and Parish, and a proposed well site or water tower. Following the first meeting on October 11th, most of the comments dealt with reducing the unit count and shifting some of the units. So as a result, we decreased the number of paired cottage and villa lots. We made the villa lots 70 feet wide instead of 60 feet wide, and we rearranged the villa lots to be located entirely around the border of the property, with the paired cottage lots located entirely in the interior. All that resulted in a decrease in total units from 206 down to 195, and a density reduction from 2.6 dwelling units per acre to 2.4 dwelling units per acre. If anyone wants more details on the changes, I can provide that. Following the November meeting, we really only had 2 areas of concern which you wanted me to address, and those concerned the traffic study for the area and then any utility information that we could get. We decided to skip the December meeting since the traffic study was still being finalized, and it gave us a little bit more time to try and get some more concrete utility numbers and information that was requested. Luckily, I have some answers for both of those. So for the traffic study, we commissioned First Group Engineering to conduct the study on October 11th following our first Plan Commission study session. Initially, it was just going to cover the intersection of 141st and Parish, since that's the intersection that is most directly impacted by our project. However, after that study session, it was suggested that we expand the study to include other intersections in the area. So I reached out to Don inquiring about which intersections to include in an expanded study, and he came back with the following: 141st and 41, 141st and Heritage Way, 141st and Garden Way, both of which are the Rose Garden Estates entrances, 141st and the Blue Sky North entrance, Parish and the Blue Sky East entrance, and then Parish on 151st. We also sent the traffic study that DVG conducted for Railside to First Group as well, so that allowed for a more comprehensive view of the traffic situation between 141st and 41. We received the revised traffic study results on December 18th, and it came back with only 2 recommended traffic improvements for any of the intersections. The first is a traffic signal at 141st and 41. The town, I know, is aware of that, but unfortunately that's in INDOT's jurisdiction, so the timeline or the chances of that improvement, obviously, are out of your hands, it's uncertain. So both us as a developer and the town, we're hamstrung when it comes to improvements to that intersection. The second recommended improvement was a westbound passing blister at the intersection of 141st and the Blue Sky North entrance. We don't disagree with that assessment, and we're certainly willing to install that improvement. But we also think there's an alternate option to have a through lane in that area instead of a passing blister. So we think it's possible to shift 141st south in that section onto our property to create a left-hand turn lane for westbound traffic instead of having that passing blister, especially since the north side of the road is it's curbed, plus then we have plenty of right-of-way to work with on our north boundary as well. That's something that we can work out at a later stage when we reach the engineering phase, but I did just want to mention that at this stage. On the utility front, we had a meeting with Neil, Chris, and Ashley on November 14th to go over sewer and water information. We received some updates on the west side sewer project and the progress of that, as well as where we can connect for water, such as the Rose Garden lift station for the northern portion of our property, and then lift station 11, which is located southwest of our, southeast of our property. I also received information from Tony Perez, which stated that the Rose Garden Estates lift station was built with a capacity of plus minus 600 units. So between the 352 units at Rose Garden Estates and the 195 units at Blue Sky currently, make for a total of 547 units using that lift station, which is comfortably below that maximum number. We were also informed that there's a 12-inch water main that runs down Parish that we can tie into, and that generally there is plant capacity for wastewater, although we did not get concrete numbers on that from Neil. Finally, we're working on arranging a meeting with NIPSCO in the near future to go over systems planning for this project and to get more information regarding connections and future expansion of the gas and electric infrastructure for the property. Again, this is still relatively early in the process, so once we get into the rezoning phase and engineering, we'll be able to get a lot more detailed with seeking out that information and hopefully getting everything that both you seek and that we seek. So with that, glad to take any questions or comments that anyone may have.
You're still gonna pursue the water tower in the northwest corner, right?
Yes.
Okay, so that would give you the water you need besides the tap in.
Right.
Right, okay. You were also going to give us some dimensions on where it says houses by other.
Yep.
I was looking for some dimensions on the lot size.
So those are reflected in the site data box in the bottom left-hand corner. So those were reflecting, measuring 70 feet by 125 feet.
Yeah, that dimension is not on ours.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, it's not on what we have in there.
Okay, I apologize for that.
Yeah. Okay, 70 by 125?
Correct.
Same size as the villas?
Yes, that's correct.
That matches the biggest ledgestone house on 145th. The biggest ones are, and those are 70 by 121. And there's also 60s and 55s on that too. So they'll be the biggest on the ledgestone connection point, if you want to consider that as part of ledgestone. So they match pretty well.
Yeah, Chuck, at a previous meeting, he said that those lots were gonna match the lots across the street. And so I said, well, that doesn't tell me anything. You know, so that's why he came back with some numbers, gave us the dimensions, so.
Did I hear we have no numbers for sewer?
Yeah, in our meeting that we had with Neil, yeah, we did not get any hard data on that. But again, just generally that there is plant capacity. I mean, I know.
I think we want to hear that anymore.
Right, I completely understand that. I mean, we're
What's
in
the
the same boat.
expectation on that answer?
Oh, like when
Answer.
do we want to hear from him or expect to hear from him?
Yeah.
At any point. I mean, I've sent numerous emails in the last 2 months to Neil and city or town staff here looking for that information, because I know you all were interested in that in the November meeting, but besides the lift station information, I was not given any other hard data.
Neither we.
We need to have Neil, come to the plate on that.
Yeah. It's hard to talk about much without that,
Right.
for me.
Well, I'd like to see something from Neil in writing with the number available at the present time, percentage or whatever, not, well, numbers more than percentage, because percentage doesn't tell me what his formula is.
Kevin, did we get that traffic study by chance? Has that been passed on to the town?
We have not, no, we have not submitted that to you.
Yeah, we'll do a quick review of that.
Okay.
You send it over.
Okay.
I don't see a problem with the water right now, especially that water. Have you tested for that well, or?
No, we have not drilled for that yet.
So without traffic information, and you don't have the well information, we don't have the sewer information, I guess what are you looking for from us tonight?
Well, are there any other edits to at least the site layout? I mean, I guess we're hoping that we've been here enough, maybe that we can move into the rezoning phase. Would be ideal, but that's obviously up to your discretion.
What were you gonna do on 141st? You were gonna put in a turn lane?
Yes, so we proposed that as an alternate to the passing blister, because that's what the findings of the traffic study suggested, was having a passing blister in that area. But since we do have quite a bit of frontage on the north boundary, we thought perhaps we could just shift 141st south and just put in a turn lane in there instead of the passing blister going on the north side, on the Centennial side of the road.
So that kind of answers the question that last year one of the commissioners asked if you could provide some land to widen that road. So
Right.
that would be doing what he asked.
Yes.
But
Could
that
you
would just
explain to me
go.
what a passing blister is?
So a passing blister is essentially just a bump out in the road. So if someone is turning left to go into our project off 141st, traffic that's still going straight towards 41 can go around it. So it doesn't hold up traffic when someone's trying to turn.
Well, it's like what Heather said, I want some numbers on it. I'm tired of just saying, yeah, there's plenty of capacity down there, and then we go down there and they say, oh man, you can get another, cup of water in there. And then someone else says, well, there's room for 232,000 more homes. We don't know. We have a better handle on water, but we do need to know what your well is gonna do.
Right.
Eventually. But, without a good solid, traffic, survey there and numbers from Neil, the rest of it, I'm kinda happy with what you did. You moved stuff around, you made lots bigger, and that's what we're about, getting bigger lots, so, you kept the parks, we're gonna have the water thing, the water tower, so I mean, Commissioner, got anything else?
How big are these parks?
I believe right now they're roughly an acre in size, give or take.
Each?
Yes,
Or-
yes, each.
Water and sewer are a big concern for me since that last JMOB meeting got canceled and
Yeah.
not rescheduled that I've heard about.
Troubling.
I think we all need to know we have to have some real data. The passing blister, I'm not crazy about either, and I'll tell you why. As other things, that probably is your company's feeling that that's sufficient for your development, but as things continue to develop in other areas of that, we have a potential bottleneck because all we have is a place for people to pass cars getting into your subdivision. So, and that probably solves the problem for what you think your development's gonna be. Down the road, there's gonna be others. And, we need to start looking at some long-term solutions for that, rather than just compiling traffic issues.
Yeah, well, I like what he said about putting the center lane in. as opposed to passing by center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Put
that's
that
all I
center
got.
lane lane that in, where's it gonna, go to school, are they gonna have the center lane down there, or gonna have a bottleneck with it?
It's only gonna be a tapered lane, I imagine. It's not gonna be I don't think you're putting in a third lane the entire length of the subdivision, correct?
No, just as long as,
Yeah, so when you hear third lane, it's essentially a taper in a way.
Well, and Mr. Hunley's right, at the
It's gonna
end of
be
the
a
day,
job.
that's still going to 141st, which we're still causing a big,
Yeah.
we're gonna have a big traffic jam there.
And until we see the traffic study, I mean, the traffic study should take into account for future development with certain percentages based on
Well, I
NDOT
think you said though
criteria.
that they didn't need a light, that your study proved that.
yes,
141st.
141st and 41.
Right, so,
And that's in the state's hands.
Yeah.
right. But this is in our hands.
Yeah. We've asked for lights on US 41 and so far haven't got any results from the state.
I don't know how many of us travel that route in the morning, but it's not great as it is.
141st isn't bad, but Parish and 133rd are horrible.
Right.
We also have an industry coming on 141st school. And between, I'd say 7 and 8:30, traffic is bumper to bumper.
And also, Don, to your point, I do believe they included a 5% number for the growth over the next 5 years.
Yeah, which I think is typical.
Yeah.
And we essentially gave them the limits of the traffic study, what intersections to improve, and essentially just used NDOT's criteria to prepare the traffic study. So that's the way everybody, kind of applies them now, especially since we don't typically have a traffic ordinance here per se. We rely on that. So
Do we
they're all-
need one?
Huh?
Do we need one? At what point do you think we need one?
It'd probably be more of a hybrid, like a thoroughfare plan or, some type of planning document that kind of reflects it. I mean, I think NDOT's criteria is just fine, and that's why we kind of recite it. But no, there has to be some type of long-term planning study for, probably future growth, 10 to 15 years in the future, thoroughfare plan, and then how you potentially can fund some of that stuff, whether it's a road impact fee or whatever, method you want to do for it. But it's a large effort to put something like that together. And we've given the town the numbers to do it, but we've never been released to do it.
Well, that's food for thought.
I have a question on the water tower. It's here, but then you also mentioned Rose Garden numbers.
Yeah.
So is your intention to ideally tap into Rose Garden, or are you waiting for us to tell you that we want you to do the water tower?
Well,
It's
I
not
think
done
we would
testing yet.
conduct the test first and see what results that yielded, and then that would be the determining factor in how we're going to proceed with that. And if the well test isn't good enough, then we can always just, we can make that like another park area or something like that.
Okay.
But I'd imagine we might pursue testing sometime in the spring,
Yeah.
once the ground.
Do you know who was responsible for that? I know former town manager was kind of tailoring that to be drilled. I don't know if the town was doing it or you guys were doing it. I don't
believe we figured that out fully yet.
Okay. I know there's some discussion. Sanitary-wise, I know that lift station was sized to take this. I think there's an actual stub coming out from that wet well into this parcel. So Rose Garden did the legwork on that. So that should be pretty cut and dry. Whether or not the plant has capacity, I have no idea.
And we don't either.
If we go ahead and approve this here, and then they go to item, and item says that there's not enough water, where does that leave us after approving them? Then item saying there's not enough water for them. We have to submit something to item after.
Yeah, I mean, that would pretty much stop it in place. I mean, they would need to do what we call water extension notice of intent, which they'll have to submit documents that says that the public water system has adequate capacity to do, and if it doesn't, if they don't provide the right documentation, they won't get their NOI, which means they can't put anything in the ground. So, I mean, there are some fail-safes for that, but no, you certainly want to know what your capacities are before you start approving, 100-lot subdivisions. You know, it just goes to, you know, whose responsibility it is for upgrades, vetting that out before you approve anything. It's warranted.
Does anybody have any problems with the way they redesigned the,
Well, I'm against paired bills. Paired cottages, I'm against it, but otherwise it's okay.
Mr. Austin, any thoughts on the amount of time it's gonna take us to get any information from the JMOB?
Oh, God. You're asking me to predict Lowell's availability for a meeting? Probably, 3-4 months, you know?
Minimum?
I think everybody's a little nervous as to why they don't want anybody to come to a meeting down there.
Well, you can know about the capacity in the plant by reading the monthly MRO reports to IDA. And you can know from that report, which is an annual required report of daily testing, volume, loading, all of the discharges, any issues that arose during the month, you can get from that report. I have not seen the December 28th report yet. It's still forthcoming. But the November report indicated there was a flow average of 3.62 MGD. That 3.62 MGD is based upon the metering and measuring that occurred. Cedar Lake bears 54%, I believe, of the amount in terms of our contract for costs and treatment and responsibility.
There's only one time last year where Low used more than us.
We've been in incredibly dry and drought times, so we haven't necessarily needed to use our equalization basins.
Which that's 15 million gallons, where we use 3 million, and then after that gets filled, we use the other 12, and Low's responsible for cleaning that due to the fact they control what goes in there.
So I heard 3.62, but what does that mean for,
It means 3.62 out of permitted 4.0 MGD.
got it.
That's what our permit says. It's been that way for a long time.
So we're at 3.62 out of 4.
Yeah, at least in the month of November, which is the near latest report. They do it monthly.
does that number stay pretty constant, or?
It actually does, and particularly in these dry and drought times we've had, it's been pretty consistently level.
And I have a book, 2 books that have the last 3 years. I can bring that here for you to look at if you want.
They're all on file in the town hall. Bob.
Well, I've got them in the binder.
They're organized at Bob's house.
Bob's binder. Wow.
I don't wanna talk out of turn, but I think the town council in its current form would like to, know what kind of condition the sewer plant's in and the equalization basin and a number of other things that doesn't look like we've been getting any information up to this point, so, I don't see what the harm is in getting that information and sharing it with the planning commission so everybody feels comfortable with the decisions they make.
All of what you're asking about is public record. It should be available, it should be easily available upon request, and you should have that. I'm sure that is the primary question as you are evaluating projects and development such as this. And that's all we really talked about. The concept's nice and move some things around, but
Shouldn't we have that information, being part owners or part operators with them?
I'm sorry, Jim.
Shouldn't we have that information in our town hall?
Of course.
The use of the sewer plant and stuff like that?
Well, it's in the jurisdiction of the town council and utility board for sure, but again, public information. It's source material for developers such as Kevin and his, it's source for you in evaluating capacity.
We couldn't come to our town hall and get that information or apply for that source.
I'm sorry?
Could we come to our town hall and request that?
Oh, those records are public, they're here, Jim.
They're here?
They're
And
here.
So my question, Mr. Austin, we're at 3.62 out of 4, and I don't know how many units we've approved that aren't built yet. So where's the equation of that?
So you can take, and this is an IDEM number, it's not my number, it's not Jack Slater's number, it's IDEM number. They calculate per household 315 gallons per day. So you can take that 380,000, divide it in half, let's just divide it in half for ease of calculation, it's 190,000 divided by 315, and you'll know how many units you can, in its most simple form. There are all kinds of other factors, construction. How many?
12,000.
Doors or households?
Yes.
You're saying between 3.62 and 4, there's 12,000. Jack, look at you.
Total,
Thank you.
total between us and Lowell. Contractually, 50% even.
I don't understand if the information's available and we could ask for a request for it, and it's in our town, why can't we be provided with it instead of us going asking for a report on it?
Well, your planning staff can add to their list documents they provide you monthly. Add this to it. It's a photocopy exercise. The documents are here.
That's something we could ask Ashley to provide once a month,
Ashley,
when she gets the report, to maybe critique it a little bit so it's not in...
you don't want to critique. It's
No?
4
Okay.
pages. It's simple read. It's columnar and presentation, and it'll give you the information about that sewer plant.
Well, why can we not have Neil here?
You can do whatever you want. I mean, you can have the engineer, you can have the manager, you know, whomever will explain it.
Well, I think it'd be great to talk to Neil. I might be speaking for myself.
No? No. It's a good idea. Ashley, did you hear that about the report?
I did, I have made a note to start sending the JMA reports to the plan commission. For Neil, if you're wanting him to start coming to plan commission meetings, are you wanting him to attend both work session and public, or just work session?
I'd like to see him one time, frankly, just give us a rundown.
Okay.
Yeah, next month's work session, if we could.
The report is to be filed on or before the 28th day of the month following the calendar month, and having that available for your work study session like tonight would be easy to do, and in your packages.
Okay, sounds good. Well then, we have no problems per se as the way this project is laid out.
I really don't like the paired villas.
Pardon me?
Really don't like the paired villas, or the paired cottages.
Well,
But
Mr. President, I had a relatively simple question regarding the homes by others on the south border. Don, what is that 145th? Is that a little narrower road than standard?
No, that's a full width right away, I believe.
Is it?
yeah, I believe so.
60, I think. Yeah, it's 60.
Okay. Who's the homes by others, Kevin?
Schilling.
And those are already platted lots?
No, that will be a separate process.
Be a separate plat, I'm guessing.
Yep.
It'll be a separate
Those are
plat.
gonna be 70 by 125.
Okay.
If this is a PUD, would it even be part of the PUD? Or would it be separately zoned?
I'm assuming we'd probably include it, but I don't want to
Okay. Yeah,
speak on that too early.
that now.
Yep.
I'm just curious.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep.
Well, I'm just happy there's no townhomes. So. All right, if there's no other questions on that,
Can we
then,
talk about the water a little bit more?
okay.
Are you folks gonna drill a test well and let us see the results?
Well, again, I don't think we ever had worked out who would be covering the cost of that. We had preliminary discussions with Chris Salatis, but
We had, We don't have an agreement about that,
Correct.
but we can't have a discussion here without knowing that data and information.
Right.
Okay. That was a discussion piece with staff and the developer's representatives. It's kind of a small elephant, but it's in the room. And we need to know that information because the suspicion is, I'll use that word because I don't know another word to use, given how clouded that discussion was. But knowing that capacity will help a lot us understand the totality of water distribution and circulation.
Just like Schilling, on Lakeside, they drilled a well on Lakeside off of 133rd. They found buku amounts of water, but the quality wasn't good.
Drilled two of them, though.
Well, and in fact, I drafted it at request of town administration, an access and license agreement, to get out there and do this, and I haven't seen it returned, signed, or checked off. So it was a pretty important item, redrafting documents, and kind of talking through it. And I know that you probably weren't the decision maker, so I did it.
Yep.
The supply on the west side of town is weak though, correct?
Week,
Well, I'm
I
told,
don't know.
and I don't know if
about
this
weak.
is true or not, Dave, but somebody told me the other day that, at certain times of the day at Hanover High School, the toilets won't flush, particularly in the morning, because there's not enough volume or pressure to make
I understand.
the commercial flush valves work.
The object always was, and when the first middle school was built out, on 141st, extension of the water mains for looping purposes is critical. The building couldn't have been built without getting that done, given what we're talking about. Now we have a lot more campus, we have a couple of businesses, we have a lot of commercial industrial lots that will be built, and they will be using water. And so we're at a critical stage for development, both of this project and area-wide, watershed-wide, if you will. That's why this is so important. We don't have access to this land, and we don't have permission to be on it and checking it. It's theirs to do, and they bear the burden on this project of the responsibility of answering the question Heather asked it right out of the box. What about the water? What about the sewer? And that is your burden. So. I also made a note here about 12-inch water main. Is that an oversizing of the water mains, the water lines that connect this property to Cedar Lake?
That's a Neil question.
No, it's not. It's a developer question.
Well, the 12-inch on Parish is existing.
So it would connect to a like line.
Yes.
Okay, so we have no oversizing, no increase in capacity requirement of the developer.
I mean, that would be part and parcel to what's eventually, potentially drilled, what the water tower turns out to be. Those are kind of unanswerable questions at the moment.
Well, they're important for the lawyer here because
Yeah.
there's some law applicable to this question.
I'm not saying it's not a good question, I just don't think we have the information until we get any kind of test result to figure that out.
I think Kevin needs to hear the question so he can take
Yep.
it back.
Okay,
All right.
got it?
Yep. All right, thank you.
Sure. Number 4, Rock, preliminary plat, owner petitioner Andrea and Anita Rock, 136 North Sandberg Terrace, apartment 1202, Squaw, Illinois, 60610, vicinity of 8510 West 146th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a preliminary plat for a one-lot subdivision. Hi.
Hi, the member was here a month ago,
Yep.
and just to refresh your memory, my sister and I own property at the southwest corner of the lake. And we originally had a two-story home with the bedrooms on the second floor. We bought the adjacent property, and the property that we bought is also adjacent to the Pinecrest Channel, to give you an idea of where it's located. Since we bought the property next door, we have torn down the house and the shed on that property to make room for equipment to put in a new seawall. And at the same time, on the adjacent property to Pinecrest Channel, we tore down that old chain link fence. We actually were here last summer to get approval for the new vinyl fence. At the same time, Pinecrest put in a new seawall themselves. So if you look at it, it's basically the seawall from our property that extends all the way down the channel past the end of the road. And the reason we are here today is to petition you for a one-lot subdivision. And this will enable us to put in an addition between the original property and the garage on the new property that will contain a bedroom, bathroom, and hallway. And at the same time, the original house, that garage, part of it will become a bedroom. So we will end up with 2 bedrooms on the ground floor, and both my sister and I are elderly, and it's hard to walk upstairs. So that's why we want bedrooms on the main floor. And also, the hallway will be wide enough to accommodate the, going from the original house to the addition to the garage. So with that in mind, we have had the preliminary and final plat surveys done by Turinga Associates, and also you have seen the house plans for the construction of the addition and the remodeling of the house by Hen Construction. And today we have Stuart Allen from Turinga, and, oh, excuse me. So if you have any questions on the plat survey, Stuart is here. And then also from the Hen Construction, Greg Lucan is here from Hen Construction. So with that, if you have any questions on the plat survey, you could ask them to Stuart. Okay.
I believe last time she was up here, we ascertained that the lot coverage would be fine with the addition. They tore down the old place, they're gonna put the addition on, and that lot coverage would be within limits. And so really, there's nothing other than, more, I don't think, other than making the one-lot subdivision, which would make it all legal.
Nothing for me.
Sounds good to me.
I mean,
Right? Is that,
we just got this yesterday, but no, it's pretty self-explanatory. There's nothing crazy with it, it's typical one-lot sub, there's nothing, you know, we may add a utility and drainage easement to the frontage, but other than that, it should be pretty easy. I don't have any really worries about it.
yeah, basically, it's, the coverage is good, your comments there, I don't really see any problem unless somebody else does.
I do not.
Nope.
Is the dead end of 146th, there was a snag of some kind with that. Has that been resolved?
That what I believe was resolved with the Pinecrest Marina. There was, yeah, you can see up here, there's part of that right away that's actually outside of this frontage, so it's actually part of Pinecrest's property.
It goes into the channel.
It goes into the channel, and I believe that was gonna be vacated when they eventually come through the final plat. Just cause, yeah, it's worthless right away, and you might as well just clean it up.
Yeah, and the retaining seawall has been done on that side of the channel, the picture side of the channel already?
The seawall extends from the lake all the way past the road.
But it's new?
It's new.
Okay.
It's brand new, yeah.
They matched theirs to what Pinecrest was doing, so it was all done together.
Excellent.
It was the same company that did everything, so it just almost like extends the seawall all the way down.
We have a storm sewer line running down 146 that actually goes right, basically outlets right through that seawall. It was put in as part of South Shore. And that would be the only hang-up potentially, but I think that would be vetted with Pinecrest. Because, yeah, this property, how it lines up, is inside of the seawall, probably close to it, so.
Dave, do you have anything?
Been spending a lot of time looking at one-lot subdivision issues. Are there conditions or waivers being considered for this?
As
Well, it's a one-lot subdivision of an irregular parcel that has a lot of unusual amenities and characteristics, and are we processing conditions or waivers with this one-lot subdivision?
Ashley, can you speak to that, I guess just zoning wise, that they're not asking for any variances or waivers or anything like that? I don't see any off the top of my head, but I'm looking at it kind of for the first time right now.
They have not requested any waivers, to my knowledge, for sidewalk, anything, or stormwater detention, any of the typical ones that have previously been talked about in Don's letters. Whether or not that what the plan commission would intend for that lot would be a plan commission decision.
Yeah, I mean, Ashley's right, we'll have our typical waivers like that for sidewalk detention. I mean, we very rarely require detention for lots that front directly onto the lake, especially one lot residential.
Yeah, we are reducing the amount of coverage significantly.
Yeah.
There's 3 driveways, I think, almost there. There's gonna be 1.
Yeah, there's a lot of coverage right now, so that's a benefit right there. You're gonna reduce the runoff going in anyways. Sidewalk, there's not sidewalk anywhere in the vicinity. It's a dead-end road. You know, it's just a lot of minutia that's in a subdivision ordinance that we have to waive just out of, you know, just our duty in a way, really.
Well, unfortunately, all parcels are not the same, so
Yeah.
all parcels are treated differently with characteristics. And again, I've been working on a one-lot subdivision issue. I want to make certain that when we're doing this, if you're considering these, that you're doing so uniformly across the board. So that folks are receiving the same consistent explanations, requests, et cetera. And I'm working on a problem map. That's why I'm asking.
So we could move ahead, but contingent upon the,
You can impose any reasonable conditions you deem appropriate under the law, subdivision statute, and our ordinance. Again, I'm only looking for uniformity and people being treated, and their properties being treated alike, or similarly, so let's understand.
So we're talking about a waiver for retention and sidewalks.
Sounds like it.
Sidewalks, curbs, it's like a blanket,
Okay.
you know, public improvements. I mean, technically, you would have to meet, you know, improvements to the right of way.
Is that that's not on the plat necessarily?
No, it's more of our letter kind of follows a motion, I guess, is how we've done it.
Okay.
Previously. This road specifically has already been improved by the town 5-6 years ago. So obviously, we're not gonna have you widen it to town standards, and, you know, there's certain logic that goes into some of that stuff to back up the waivers. So we try to, like Dave said, I mean, we will review every lot, you know, on their own merits.
Is that something that the owner can work with you guys on?
I mean, it's something we'll generate,
Okay.
typically.
Make a note that we look
Excuse me,
for
is there
that.
something we have to do then before we get to the
No.
next
That's why I was
approval?
asking.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay, just asking, yeah.
I mean, I need to push my surveyor to look at it, like I said, I just got it today. I shot it out to him, coming out of holidays, I don't know how busy he is. Sure. We'll do our best.
so we can move ahead in 2 weeks and hear this.
If Don's ready, I mean, he
If
just.
Don's ready.
So,
I think we'll be ready, but I can't guarantee it.
Okay, so it depends on whether Don gets through,
Okay.
completes whatever he has to do to get to this point. Whether you'll be here in 2 weeks or you'll be here
We'll
next.
talk with Ashley then to coordinate.
Yeah.
Sure,
Schedule,
correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And then, is there anything else at this point you need to know about the building plans for the addition, which is what prompted the one lot subdivision?
No.
I know you've seen
No.
it before, and,
I don't think there's anything else we need to know
That'll be in the building.
Maybe the building department.
Details with that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there'll have to be a detailed site plan, of course, grading plan and stuff.
okay.
You covered most of our concerns or our concerns today,
Right,
so,
okay.
other than what Don's letter says.
Well, only because we have representatives from Penn Construction in case you did have any questions on the the building addition.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Don, you're thinking there's gonna be two waivers, sidewalks and road improvements?
I don't know if the roadway improvement is necessary because it's already been improved. It's a brand new road for the most part, so there's infrastructure in there already, and I don't even know if that's necessary.
So you're thinking?
I mean, we have like a tree waiver and all that, but there's already trees on the parcel probably, and I don't, it's,
Right.
yeah. We'll look at it and go through our typical waiver list and see what applies, what doesn't apply, and we'll make that as probably the number one note in our letter.
Thank you.
Is this a primary plat application?
Yes.
So we need a public hearing, obviously, it needs to be noticed.
Pardon? The public notice, did you say?
Yes.
Public hearing.
The public hearing in 2 weeks, and to do that with public notice, Nancy Riley from your firm is going to be working on that with Ashley.
I have been coordinating with Nancy. She is aware that it would be contingent upon tonight's meeting.
Yes.
On whether or not it was going for a public hearing at the January or if it was another one in the February. If the plan commission is okay with it moving forward to the public meeting for January 17th, I have time to get stuff to Nancy, and Nancy has time to get everything properly noticed and advertised. If not, I will coordinate with Nancy and tell her that it's going to be at the February session and not at the public meeting.
We're okay with that, Ashley, as long as Don gets his part done.
We could go ahead and have the public hearing scheduled, and if things aren't up to snuff, then we can continue the public hearing through February.
Correct. Yeah, we'll keep it moving along, so that's what we'll do.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Number 5, Cedar Lake Storage, rezone. Owner, Cedar Lake Storage LLC, C/owner of this law, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner, Daniel D. Viss, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Vicinity of 9019 West 135th Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner is requesting to rezone from M1 to B2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good to see everyone here again. This is
Well, wait, I wanted to talk about the faggots, don't everybody leave the gay people, eh? There's statistics on them. They're 2% of the population, get 33% of
Ignore
the
them, turn them off. You can say, yeah,
Well, all right, we're gonna...
67% have AIDS, 78%.
you need to turn them off.
Right on in at 43%.
Right. I think you use that, you use the letter and get a password on it. I haven't done other meetings before. I had one of them.
Thank you.
During like COVID. Fine name.
All right, we good to go back on the record?
Yes, please.
All right, thank you. All right, so here on behalf of Cedar Lake Storage, we met a month ago. This is a project that I've been in front of you repeatedly on, as well as my clients. They took over in 2019. The property was in disrepair. It's zoned M1. They got a special exception variance to allow them to have outdoor storage. The premises, it's a very unique property. I kind of call it like a mullet. There's business in the front and party in the back, so to speak, and that's the way that this property is set up. There is outdoor storage that's on the back side, and the front is a business building that my clients have renovated. I've put a couple of pictures that should be in your packet that I believe that Ashley has shared with you. One of the difficulties as we get to the very end here is my clients are seeking to get a tenant on the inside of this commercial building. In order technically, with the existing M1 zoning that's there, in order to bring a tenant in, any tenant would have to come in and seek a variance before you in order to get in. So what my clients are actually seeking to do is capitulate to the town and say we're willing to move from an M1 zoning down to a B2 zoning, which candidly limits future use of the property, but they're willing to do it. Some of the good concerns that were raised at the last meeting, I think, Ms. Detzauer, one of the questions that you had was on the parking, as well as on how many uses can we have with this particular property. So I appreciate working with Dave in the last couple of weeks, and I think we've actually got a proposed final zoning commitment between he and I as of the last week and a half that's before you this evening. Just to take you basically through it, number one is the multiple business use. My clients, the storage folks, do maintain a small office in the back, and what we would be seeking is that there could be up to 2 businesses that could occupy this particular building. It's 2,800 square feet. There's plenty of room for 2 businesses inside, as well as part of the site plan that I provided for you. There's a total of 14 exterior parking spots that they would commit to as well that would be made available. So the maximum amount of business use would be 2. The second paragraph that you see in the zoning commitment covenants is that my clients would be allowed a complementary business use, such as a relationship with a U-Haul, excuse me, or other storage service provider that they could have that contractual relationship with, and that would be considered a quote, third business. The third item that was raised is if my clients were to engage in that contractual relationship, and again, if it's profitable, then yes. If not, then they wouldn't do it. But they would be able to maintain one of those moving trucks if it weren't being used outside in the parking space just for some visibility. The remainder that you see there in the proposed zoning commitment is just, you have a proposed site plan. It shows the 14 differing parking spaces, and again, this would be binding upon the owner. It wouldn't run with the property, but it would be for this particular owner only, and all other zoning codes would apply. So with that, we'd respect the request to be on the public agenda in a couple of weeks. I've spoken with Ashley. She has indicated to me that we can collaborate to make that happen, and we'd like to be here in a couple of weeks and seek that zoning change with this zoning commitment.
So we're at 3 businesses now?
2.
Well, plus theirs. You're saying they're gonna rent out the space to up to 2, and then
No.
they have a small office?
No, so it would be the existing owner plus another possibility for 1, so a total of 2.
2.
Yes, ma'am.
But the building can hold 2 businesses.
It can, yes. And there's I included in the packet both some pictures that shows the interior as it's been renovated, as well as the floor plan that shows how it's currently set up. There is 4 offices, a reception lobby area, conference room, bathrooms, kitchen, 3 bathrooms, 2 big storage rooms, so plenty of space, 2,800 square feet.
So they have a potential client now?
So there has been some whisperings, folks interested in the last couple of months. I know there's a medical office that had indicated some interest. I'm not sure where that's going to go. We wanted to get through this process. But as well as we've engaged in conversations with the listing agents to say we need to completely modify how we're marketing it. That's not subject to coming back before you, but this is the full list of all folks that are welcome in.
Medical office can mean a lot of parking.
It could be, yeah. But again, and that's where, in working with Dave, we've indicated anytime any tenant would come in, any business, that all their use has to be subject to what the zoning codes are, what the parking requirements are as well.
Okay.
And I would note, actually, it's not on the site plan, but there's another feasibility for one or 2 more parking spaces directly in front of the building, parallel with the building. That wasn't on the proposed, but depending upon the type of tenant, those could be some additional parking spaces.
And they were gonna move that U-Haul truck from in front between the fence and the building or whatever to someplace else, right?
No, the proposal would be, I think one of the questions, a concern Ms. Detzauer had was if it was in the front of the fence, would it pose an impediment to the sidewalk or a safety hazard? I've looked at it, and even if it were to be put in one of those front parking spots, it's another like 20 feet before you get to the sidewalk that runs adjacent to the roadway there, so.
And what about the school area where the kids line up to be picked up by the bus and dropped off by the bus?
That should be the opposite side, right?
Yeah, Mr. Carnahan, I'm unaware of a school bus drop zone, but it's a plenty big parking lot. As I look at
The bus stop is more like where the road.
On the east side.
Okay, yeah, the parking lot If I could come over, Mr. Carnahan. So this is where the proposed parking lot is, this is where the building is, I think, Ms. Dessar, are you saying
Yeah,
that?
I'm concerned down here.
Yeah, no, theirs is about 15 feet, from the edge of where you park the backside of the vehicle. When they back up to turn out, they're not backing at all into any roadway.
And right now, I believe they have a RV parked there.
That could be, I didn't look when I drove past this evening, it was dark, so I didn't
All right.
see. Yeah.
The highlighted area inside and outside the fence. On the outside of the fence is where the U-Haul equipment will be, and then the inside of the fence will be the parking for the potential spaces for the employees for the rental of the
Yeah, if I
office
could,
building.
if I could, up here.
Sure, step right up.
Yep. So right here, I would anticipate, right on the edge is what my clients have talked about, if they were to engage in a contractual relationship,
Okay.
they may park it right there, just
And
for
One truck.
possibility. One truck, yeah.
One
and
truck,
that's what-
just for like a sign.
Yeah.
And the rest,
Yep.
they
So
have
where
to
would the
be back
employees be
in.
parking?
So there's
On the back,
space,
behind the fence,
space here or here,
Yeah.
depending upon the
which is what
total-
Bob's talking about, where the camper is now.
Okay,
Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
got it, thank you.
Yep.
So where does that belong at in our agreement, Mr. Austin?
In the body of it, I mean, it can be included for clarity's sake and runs with the land as a recordable instrument. Language of your motion might include also, Heather.
Thank you.
So they'll have the storage business, they'll have the U-Haul business, and they'll have one or two other businesses there.
Just one other.
One.
One or two, it's possible for two in that building.
It's possible to two, but one would be the existing storage business, and they already maintain a small office in the back.
They'll have storage business on that property.
Correct.
They'll have a U-Haul business on that property.
A contractual relationship with someone, yes.
Yeah, be a U-Haul business.
Yep.
Then they're gonna have possibly two businesses maximum in the building that's vacant.
No, just one. He's saying the owner of the storage unit will take one business or one unit, and then the other unit will
Okay,
be rented.
so there'll be three, all right.
And,
Got it.
and the U-Haul, just so I'm clear, it's taken care of by the owner of the storage facility,
Correct,
correct?
and that's Heather, why I call it a contractual relationship. It's very unique. They store maybe a couple trailers or trucks on the property. They work with the existing owner to exchange keys of their strap boxes, and that's the way that's set up for predominantly most U-Haul collaborative relationships.
So it's not like different employees coming in and another office needed?
No,
Okay.
nope.
I feel much more comfortable with this than I did the last time you were here.
No, I appreciate the concerns and tried to work with Dave to enunciate them so that there's clarity moving forward, so I appreciate working with Dave on that.
The draft in your packet is not the final draft. We've gotten a review of it.
I had two changes this afternoon I got from Dave.
Well, yeah, that's not all,
Okay.
but we'll be exchanging that information,
More red pen coming, Keith.
possibly.
My last thing is that I would just prefer some sort of language to be put in there about the placement of the U-Haul, so it doesn't inch either closer to where the kids get on the bus, or that it's going to impede traffic, or, like I told you, they did such a great job with that property, I just don't wanna junk it up.
Yep. No, they don't either, so Heather, I will work that in and get a version over to Dave and then get that back to everyone here before our next meeting.
Thank you.
Can that be done in the form of a site plan? Or a site drawing, site location?
I can try, I know DVG is slammed, and that's who we've been working with, but at least on what I have right here, I can enunciate that, we can supplement it before we record it. So it's
Jack's right here, so. You got that,
I'm
Jack?
not gonna put him on the spot.
Put him on the spot, come on.
You can go over shortly. Move back.
Sorry, Greg, you had a...
I was just making a comment about DVG being busy.
So basically, then we're pretty much ready to go, except for the changes to,
We're gonna resolve that. Nathan and I will resolve it.
yeah, right, so it should be pretty much ready to go in 2 weeks.
It sounds like.
Yeah, sounds like,
Okay, very good.
okay?
I will work with Ashley, and we'll see you in a couple weeks then.
Don't wait till the last minute.
Thanks, Nathan, he never does.
Tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, sir.
I think I'm gonna stand up here for one more, Mr. Chairman. Just for fun.
Price Point, let me call him. Number 6, Price Point Builders, concept plan, owner Price Point Builders, care of This Law, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner Nathan D. Viss, 12632 Wicker Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Vicinity of 12819 Klein Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for a two-lot subdivision.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Here on behalf of Price Point Builders, we were here a month ago, and it came to your and my attention. There were some concerns raised by an adjacent landowner, as well as there were some allegations regarding drainage and some improper alleged building practices happening there, buildings, as well as allegations that there was ongoing business happening there. I've spoken with Mr. Kubiak, as well as spoken with Ashley on that. My understanding is Mr. Kubiak went out the next morning, and from what he saw, there was a concern that one of the neighbors had put up a carport on the property. That neighbor has been instructed to remove it. My understanding there's some health difficulties there, but that has been demanded. In addition, it's also my understanding that Mr. Oliphant has taken a preliminary look at it, still playing some catch-up here. He's indicated to me that he'd like to put some boots on the ground to fully ascertain whether or not there is any drainage issues.
It appears that there is. I mean, from the photos that I saw in a rain event, and I was there on a wet day too.
And I went out there and I got pictures on my phone here with trailers that are there. The carport is being occupied. There's also a pile of construction material on it also.
By the way, the town already cleaned that up once.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah,
So this pile of debris is gone?
No, it was cleaned up
Before? Okay.
Yeah, so what I was gonna ask for was just a deferral to next month, recognizing that the town has given some requirements to the landowner. There's requirements that are going to a person that's got a carport on there. Don needs some chance to get some boots on the ground to understand what the contour of the land is for any requirements. So I was just gonna request if we defer it 30 days to allow the folks to get cleaned up what the town has requested. So I just wanna report that.
Is he gonna continue to want to enter that off of Klein Avenue? That property?
For the proposed two-lot subdivision, yes. That's where the proposed driveways would be located.
That's an awful place to enter and exit with everything that's going on over there anyway, so, I mean, that's...
Kind of dangerous, trying to look to see what's coming up through the roundabout.
It's incredibly dangerous, and it's getting worse all the time.
Yeah.
That fronts on Lee Street, isn't it, Lee, or?
It fronts on Klein Avenue, would run on...
Yeah,
Well,
that's fine,
I think his driveway, could enter the property, but it's his driveway into it.
Oh.
I mean, there's already a driveway approach there. I think that was constructed as part of the roundabout project.
Correct, yeah, it's curved.
So it's curved, you can see it on there. I think it's a concrete apron.
It
So
is, yeah.
here he has one ingress egress point. As it sits today, that was designed as part of that project. So,
Because
That'll
it's
be a
already
busy
there.
intersection.
yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, typically we do a design like that, even if the property is vacant, we'll give them a drive approach.
All right, well, I don't see a reason why we can't see it next month.
Sounds like a plan, thanks, sir.
Okay, Dave. Number 7, Faith Church site plan. Owner petitioner, Faith Reformed Church, Inc., Brian Ford, 81st Avenue, Dyer, Indiana, 46311. Vicinity of 6729 West 133rd Avenue, Cedar Lake, Indiana, 46303. Petitioner is requesting a site plan approval for an expansion on the existing Faith Church building and parking lot. Hi.
Good evening, Jack Slager, longtime member of Faith Church and also a member of the building team of Faith Church. I'm joined tonight by Brian Ford, the head of our building team, also Dave Weemhoff, the pastor of Faith Church Cedar Lake, along with Ted Roan, the architect for this project, and Jack Hulls from DVG, the site engineer for the project. As a bit of history, in 2007, Faith Church launched a multi-site. We currently have 5 campuses for Faith Church. In 2007, they launched a site in Cedar Lake that met at Hanover Central High School. Experienced rapid growth at that time. In 2015, we were fortunate to buy 12 acres of land east on 133rd east of the lake. And in 2016, we occupied the current facility. Our current facility seats 275 parishioners. We currently run 3 services each Sunday morning, and we are excited to announce plans that we've been working on for over a year for approximately a $4 million expansion of the site that will include a new worship center that will seat approximately 700 to 800. This will include expansion of our parking and both in the front and in the back. If you're familiar with the site, the primary access into the building is from the back. The majority of the parking is in the back. We have what we call almost like a reverse walkout on the building, where the front of the building that faces 133rd is actually the basement, where we have our offices and, other meeting rooms that access off the front of the building. So with that, I wanted to hand it over to Jack Hulls to talk a little bit more about the parking, the drainage, and some of the improvements that will be done in that respect.
So as Jack was mentioning, this site was previously developed, and there was a detention facility constructed on the south, kind of in the middle on the south of the project. I don't know if you have anything in front of you, or you can pull that up. Otherwise, I do have copies.
Yeah.
If you'd like to see them.
We have it.
Okay. So there was an existing detention facility, drive down basin, located south of the parking lot. That was originally sized for various expansions. We are proposing an expansion of that detention facility to anticipate any future growth at this site. So we have accommodated basically for the entire site beyond the parking lot and green spaces to be future parking or future building. So we've kind of looked out beyond this current expansion for those detention facilities. The site, the building is actually at the high spot, and the site drains pretty dramatically to the south. So the detention facility is kind of in the right spot. It goes out through a ditch on the southeast corner of the site. We're making some improvements along the front of, or the south side of the building as far as access. We're lining up drive aisles and providing some drop-off spaces there, kind of improving some of the vehicular movement through the parking lot. You'll see the southeast corner of the existing parking lot. We're infilling that little bump out there that creates kind of a traffic hassle there, widening some egress spaces. So that's really what we're looking at doing as far as this building. I'm going to let Ted speak to some of the building improvements and what we're proposing. Eric.
Good evening, Ted Rowan, Associates Architects. Do you have copies of the architectural drawings as well?
I believe so.
Okay. And then how about renderings?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were on.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. So Jack Slager said the main addition is comprised of a worship center, sanctuary with restrooms, some accessory spaces and storage space, and atriums to allow proper access for people coming in and out of the services. The existing building is going to be connected to the new building. We're going to have to do a firewall between the buildings, but the existing building is sprinklered, and the addition will also be sprinklered as well. It'll be type 2B construction. It's going to match what's there now, which is non-combustible, unprotected construction. The addition is slab on grade. There will be no basement on this portion of the building. The floor level will match the existing portion of the main level of existing. Your drawings that we have, the architectural drawings, show gray area and tan areas. That's just to help you understand what's existing and what's new. The gray is the existing building that's there. The style of the architecture is we're matching and continuing the same theme that they already have out there, which is predominantly Nichaha architectural panels, but we've introduced some stone features as well to give it some accent on a new elevation. The north elevation, as Jack had mentioned, is the lower portion of the site, and some of the windows, it may appear that we have a basement or a lower level on here, but those are faux windows, so that we don't just have this big blank wall facing the north. So from the street view, it'll look like it's a two-level structure, but it's actually just one level. The height of the building that we showed, the dimensions, we submitted for a variance for the height. Oh, there you are. And it's mainly because the height from the street level, which is like the walkout basement level, is exceedingly high, but the predominant floor level and three sides of the structure are at the south and west ends, are at the higher grade elevations. So our building height actually to the roof line on those portions of the building is 30 feet 6 inches with a couple foot parapet. So with that said, I think that covers the building portion of it.
What's the number on that height that's above the ordinance?
I believe the ordinance is 30 feet because it's an R2 zone.
Yeah, okay, and what's the building height?
So the building height is on the three sides, the southwest and the east side is 30 feet 6 inches to the roof line. And at the front, which would be the north side, it would be 42 feet 5 inches to the roof line.
On the addition.
But then we have parapets that go up higher than that.
But it's all gonna be the same roof line. The existing building and the new is all gonna be the same roof line, correct?
It continues higher, because the sanctuary, the new sanctuary is much wider and bigger capacity, we have more volume and height, and the spans and the structure is deeper.
How many people will accommodate?
Close to 800.
800, and how many parking places?
Yeah, so I actually omitted that from my presentation, and I apologize for that. It's an important detail. So your parking requirements say one space for every 6 seats or something like that. So there would be 277 spaces required as a result of the number of seating. We are providing 358 spaces, which includes 12 ADA spaces, so we're exceeding what is required by your ordinance. And that is primarily because of just the use that we have found with these churches. You do have a higher need than the ordinance requires. And so this is what we feel is necessary for this. We do, actually, that is exclusive of the area that I show as phase 2 on C103, where I show in red a phase 2 parking. That is not included in that count. That gives us about another 100 to 120 spaces. So we would be 480 spaces without increasing the number of seats within the building. And basically what that does is it allows for, if they did grow to a point where they were having multiple services again, it's that turnover in between services that you need to have that additional parking. And so we would still be able to provide that. And that, and I'm showing that, again, as I mentioned previously, the detention is already included in that. So, we would be looking for, somewhat approval for that phase two, so we wouldn't need to come in front of you just to say, hey, we're gonna build the next phase of the parking lot. But that is not gonna be built in 2024. So that would be.
And that's in red on C-103.
That is in red on C-103, yeah.
And the retention pond will not be disturbed as is?
The detention pond will need to be expanded.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
It's gonna
you can kind of see.
expand south?
What was that?
It's gonna expand south?
It'll be expanded to the south, almost all the way to 134th Place, and then it'll be expanded a little bit to the east, into the trees a little bit more. And then there is an area for stormwater quality that will be wet, and that will be kind of in the main footprint of the pond right now. There's actually a little spot in there that's is a sediment basin for stormwater quality, and that will be expanded as well. And then the main body of the pond, which will be dry.
So it'll be restricted release?
Yeah, exactly. Actually, the restrictor doesn't change in size, so I want to say it's like a 6 or 7 inch. And then we're similarly on the front, we've got some oversized pipe to handle the stormwater runoff that goes to the north, the front side of the building. And there's a restrictor out there. That stormwater goes into the 133rd storm sewer system.
Do you utilize St. Mike's retention area?
No, it's completely separate.
Okay.
Yep.
You're gonna have to put some sidewalk in?
No, so as part of the original petition, when we
Yeah,
did this
sidewalk
project, we
looks
put
like-
sidewalk all along the entire
Yeah, I can't
frontage.
remember.
Yeah, yeah.
See any snags, Don?
I mean, we're just getting into it. We literally just got it. I think it was a little snafu about it getting to us.
Yeah, and we're somewhat aware of that, and you know, we understand, kind of anticipated that a deferral might be in order based on your schedule, to be heard at the February meeting. Obviously, if we can get it done, we'd sure love to see that. And, you know, we can see, it's not gonna happen. So maybe we'll see you in February regarding this, and that'll also give us some time to be in front of you for that BZA petition and work that out. But we didn't want you to feel like this was a surprise at the BZA as well, because I know some of the members also serve on that board.
Dave, you got any questions or comments?
All good so far.
Commissioners?
I mean, it seems like you're thinking ahead, which I appreciate that. We're not going backwards, we're going forward, so, yeah. You
Well,
thought
we-
ahead
we-
for future growth, and
Yeah, we knew when you were here for the original church that you were gonna expand eventually.
Yeah.
And that section to the west was where, the way it was gonna go, so.
Yeah, this meets with kind of with the master plan that we had talked about at that time.
Chuck or Jerry, got any questions? Or
No, this is well done.
Healthy church provides for a healthy community.
Like to think that, for sure. So, and, you know, obviously, Faith Church has been a pretty, good community partner. Dave can speak to that if he'd like, but I know there's been a lot of things that the church has been doing to, enhance Cedar Lake. They love Cedar Lake, so. It's good to see. Thank you very much.
Do you have a paper copy of one of these?
Both,
Let's
yeah.
see. Let's see one over here. I mean, keep it. Thanks. Thank you.
No other questions?
no, looks great.
All right, now I guess we'll see you back at the next work session.
Yeah, we'll be here just to kind of catch everybody back up, and then we'll see you in 6 weeks.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Number 8, Joyful Acres Concept Plan, owner petitioner Lindsay Porter, 6425 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Vicinity of 6425 West 141st Avenue, Cedar Lake. Petitioner is requesting a concept plan for one lot subdivision. Hi, Jack.
Hi, Jack Holmes from DBG, representing the petitioner. Lindsay is also in the room. This is approximately 6-acre parcel on 141st, and there was a house located approximately on the northeast corner of this parcel. I believe it's been removed.
Is that an A-frame?
Huh?
An old A-frame?
Yep.
I know exactly where it's at.
Yeah, so the house has come down, but in order to pull a building permit on this parcel, we need to have a recorded lot. And so we're going through your subdivision process and doing a one-lot subdivision. As part of that,
It's a nice piece of ground.
there are some vacations of right-of-way, which we've made some petitions to the town council regarding that. And this is a primary plat that we would like your consideration at the next meeting for.
My brother used to own the property at one time.
Oh, yeah? You sure
Was
did.
a cop.
So
It's
one
a
home,
great piece of property then.
one home on here?
They've caught a lot of rattlesnakes back in the
Oh,
back.
wow, there you go. Note to self.
We have those on the south end of the lake.
At one point in time, somebody brought one in here, and it was a female, and it ended up having 18 babies, and we gave it to the Lake County Fair, which was getting ready to open, because we didn't want it here.
My goodness. Do you have, I'm sure you got other stories about,
Yeah.
That's Cedar Lake for
what's
you.
come up in this
Yeah,
property.
don't help them
And our next subject is Matt.
Does this have stormwater, issues here?
So we would be seeking the similar waivers for detention. We're just gonna be putting a house up in that same northwest corner. There's not gonna be much other improvement on the site. We've similarly asked for that waiver on the sidewalk, and public improvements related to 141st. Those would all kind of be similar waivers that we would seek on a one-lot subdivision.
We're currently doing a partial reconstruction on 141st right now. We actually got a lot of it done, 95% of it done this year, so that road's gonna be pretty solid. Stormwater issues, I mean, there is a large wetland there. I mean, it'd be part of any kind of building process. If they wanted to get anywhere close to it, they'd have to delineate it. Part of the actual preliminary plat, fine. We can vet any issues with that. At the building department, we actually installed a big new box culvert under 141st to help drain this area, because that low spot actually is overtop. So that road west of Wheeler, 141st, actually came up about 18 inches this year. So you'll see we have to do a final coat of asphalt on it next year, but there's guardrail. It's all pretty damn new right now.
It used to be 10 acres when my brother had it, but I guess they sold 4 off because it's only 6 now.
Yeah, must have been. Well, maybe you had the property next door.
There was
behind.
property to the south, I think.
I gotcha, sure.
That was sold off to somebody else, I
There you
think.
go.
Is there wetlands to the south of it? Or like a little creek there or something?
Yeah, I was gonna guess, it probably kind of comes diagonal across the property from the southeast.
Yeah, it kind of bisects it, so this waterway actually drains all the way back to the horse farm, I believe, back to the southeast. Kind of makes its way, meanders through the Shade subdivision and makes its way to Founder's Creek, so it's a big tributary, but yes, it would be a wetland, but that would have no effect on the plat itself. That would have more an effect on where they put their house once they, come before, get a building permit effectively.
So all we want now is to make this a one-lot subdivision.
Just need a one-lot subdivision, so, I mean, as far as the town codes state that we can't even pull a building permit until we have a recorded lot, so we have to go through this whole process before we can, prepare those building
And then you'll be
plans.
back in the future with
Yeah,
plans for the house and
so,
whatever.
I believe we've also, Ashley can confirm this, but I'm pretty sure we filed for final plat as well, so that you'll see immediately in following the next month, we'll have, you'll be in front of this with a final plat. So we'll have public hearing, primary plat, and then next month we'll have final plat, get it recorded, and then they can start construction in the spring on the house.
You're shooting for February, right? For this, right? Because this is concept, so typically...
Yeah, so the ordinance says we have to do concept,
Yeah.
and then we have to do preliminary, and then we have to do final. So here we're saying, that's what we're thinking, what do you think? February, we'll be back, concept, we'll do the public hearing in February, and then in March, we'll do the final plat.
But you want to be back in 2 weeks? to-
No, but Don's correct, we're here for concept, and that's what's on the agenda.
Okay. Is there anything you have to do, Don, before then?
We need to look at it, obviously.
Yeah.
Kinda got this one with everything else, so we'll look at the vacation requests, to make sure they're not landlocking anything, that'll probably be the biggest thing. And then, yeah, we'll do our typical one lot sub review based on this lot and see what we see.
Don, I have a question. You
Yes.
said something about vacation.
They're requesting vacations, along their south boundary.
Yeah,
For
but it
Louise
says it
Drive.
was vacated by ordinance 959 in 2006.
I think that's just a placeholder for a future vacation.
Well, no,
ordinance?
that's the adjacent parcel.
Oh, yeah.
So we also did, a similar thing on the adjacent parcel. And at that time, you guys wanted us to vacate the other half of the right of way, so that's what
For
that's.
Deerview subdivision.
Hmm?
For Deerview subdivision.
And that was vacated as part of that plat, and that was 2007.
Exactly, so we're just doing the other part of it with this one, with this request.
So, yeah,
Our surveyor's
Yeah.
been, doing work a little bit in Cedar Lake, so he's like, they're gonna ask for this.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Commissioners, anybody?
Yes, sir.
Okay, see you at the next work
All right, thank you.
Number 9, Beacon Point, East Unit 2, conversion of performance letter of credit to maintenance letter of credit.
Yeah, we're still good on that one. I believe there's a letter in your packet dated December 20th. That one was good to, rotate into maintenance. So that'll be on your agenda in 2 weeks to set that, amount. It's going to be $72,854.19. So,
Jim has some questions about performance bonds and maintenance bonds.
we can be chatted.
Well, let's have it in public.
Oh.
I believe, Jim's question was kind of what's the difference between a performance and maintenance? That's pretty much correct. So performance letter of credit is a surety we essentially collect for any development that requires any kind of public improvement. That guarantees that upon approval that, they are now essentially committing to installing it. That letter of credit can be reduced in some form or fashion to a maximum of 25% over the life of the development based on what's been installed, improved, as-built, accepted. Once they eventually install everything on that list and it's all signed off, approved, they can apply to rotate it into what we call a maintenance letter of credit. Maintenance letter of credit is essentially 10% of what the performance letter of credit, and we hold that for a period of 3 years. That is to guarantee that the installed infrastructure doesn't fail for whatever reason, that it's in good working order at the end of it, and then that essentially laps after a final punch list of the subdivision. And we kind of do what we call punch lists at the end of both of these, as we kind of monitor what's being installed, make sure it's being installed correctly. So there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, typically these have punch lists that are, some are longer than others, and there's a lot of infrastructure involved in it. I mean, this one's actually a relatively small one, and it's probably 25 items. So, I mean, the original performance was about almost $800,000. So, but we have other ones that are still open right now that are $6 million plus. So they can range.
Well, Rose Garden was one that we've had a lot of discussion with, a lot of items. The
Yep.
first phase had almost 100 items.
Yep.
And another question he asked, how can we make them, take care of them faster or does there become a point in time when we can pull on those, the performance?
I don't know if you can do that, as long as it's kept active, where it can be pulled upon if they ever do decide to walk away. I don't know if you can really push them. You can try to push them, but I don't know what, in anything ordinance that we have that says we can dictate them to, when to either reduce it, roll it over. It's kind of at their discretion. Dave, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
You cannot capture, if you will, the surety unless it's not in compliance with the approvals that were given and the performance that was required. That's
So
why-
if some people live there for 2 years and the other things haven't been taken care of, if there's nothing they can do, they just have to live with it?
No, notice can be given and enforcement can be had of proper construction methods, materials, workmanship, and the like. Those funds do exist and eventually you'll collect them. You also have the opportunity to pursue contractor developers because, under law. And when you do that, you will get their attention about this surety that they've posted. Most developer contractors do not want a problem with their sureties. It affects them at the banks, it affects them in their business, it affects them in their reputation, it affects them in their projects, it affects them everywhere. And they mostly run to avoid those problems.
I just wanted to bring this up because I had a conversation with Jim today, and I just wanted everybody else to be aware of what we talked about.
What you have to remember, Bob, is that the motivation the developer has is, take for instance, the $6 million letter of credit. That's $6 million he's got in the bank that he can't touch. So his motivation is to get the job done. Most developers' motivation.
Yeah.
Some don't always do that, but get the job done so they get their $6 million back into their bank account.
You do have equity remedies also, and when you're stopping permits, when you're red tagging things, when you're using your police powers, if you will, under the construction codes, you've got some weight behind the swing, for sure.
Then I had a
I had a question about this particular unit of Beacon Point East. Is this the unit that surety was being retained on, and I'll ask these guys then too?
No.
Related to the water circumstance?
That's Unit 1.
Okay.
And it's our understanding that'll be extended prior to its expiration on the 30th.
Okay. I want to make sure.
Okay?
You want me to take all the update items?
Yeah, do it.
So Unit 2, that's referred to agenda item number 9. We just discussed Unit 1. That will be extended. Unit 1A, we actually discussed that with the Schilling's guy today. That's done. We were out there today as well. Unit 2 just has one small item. That'll be done in 2 weeks as well. And I have no updates for Summer Winds Unit 1, but that one will likely be expired with, I think Units 2 and 3 were extended, maybe 2 months ago. And then it's also our understanding that Cedarville will be extended as well.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Colbar, number 1 on the agenda, arrived late, and he is here if you want to hear him. I suggested he stick around to the end of the agenda if you wanted to seek your audience.
Yes. I'd be happy to talk to him.
Thank you.
You got 30 seconds.
I'll be fast. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, staff, apologize for tardiness, but happy to be here today.
Sure.
If you recall, for the Jets Pizza, Wingstop development on 133rd and Osborne, at our last meeting, it was, we had a side road access onto Osborne. And we left the meeting with the request or the condition that if my clients wanted to pursue that the improvement of Osborne from that curb cut, existing curb cut, things improved up to north to 133rd, would be requested. After some deliberation with my clients, they do not want to participate in that. They would decline to move forward with that option. We presented to Ashley and the staff a new site plan that shows, and I'm sure you've seen it already, that just shows the curb being held back. We've spent a lot of time with our vendors in terms of deliveries and how we can service the site accordingly. We feel very comfortable with that layout for truck access. If you do recall, again, Jet's Pizza and a wing stop, it's lunchtime, dinner, the early morning deliveries, the lot's wide open for access for what they need to do. And that's the site plan that we'd like to present. The elevations, the floor plans, the building itself hasn't changed at all. We are, and work with Ashley for 2 BZA variations. One is for the front yard setback because of the corner lot, the side of the west parking lot is within a front yard setback, and that's a variance we're looking for, and we're looking for a variance on the east setback as well. Those 2 things we submitted to Ashley, and we're looking forward to present to BZA on that. But before we release the engineers to redo our civil drawings and everything that goes along with that, we wanted to come back in front of you as this work session to say, this is what our new site plan is. There was a lot of concern about access to that road, to the ballpark that's down there, and the residential side of it, and people turning the wrong way and all that kind of business. And looking back at all that, we feel that we can cover what we need to do for these 2 concerns within the site off of 133rd and not access Osborne and keep it nice and clean. I know staff had asked me, talking to the engineers, but we held back. It's like, well, there might not even be something going on here. So that's where we left off on that. So we're here to present that option as our final option for the site so that you get to look at for your favorable recommendations, and then we can release our engineers to report back to engineering staff with a final engineering drawing and move forward from there.
So the entrance is on the east end of the lot?
The entrance is on, for what we're doing, is on the north side, on 133rd.
Right, but on the east end of your lot?
On the west side is the entrance we're closing off. We had access, but we're closing that off now.
But the east side, next to the residential property?
Yes. Yes, that's what it'll be.
Yeah.
In and out will be right there.
Yes.
At the east
Yes,
side
well,
of the property.
on 133rd, on the east end of the lot.
Right,
And that
the
is-
east side of the property.
If you're familiar with the property, that's very much where the existing curb cut is now.
Right.
That's what I see on the print.
Very good. And that's less than 30 seconds, I think.
Are you gonna be at the BZA next week?
I very well, yes.
You will? Good, you see me.
We'll be in the BZ in February.
BZA in February?
Correct, they've made it to the filing deadline for the February BZA.
So if I understood earlier, you won't be there.
Yeah, no, sorry, February, Ashley's correct,
Okay.
right.
All right. Now, if I remember correctly, the only thing we had we're questioning was that Osborne entrance and exit, or exit basically. And with that being taken care of like this, is there any other questions on this?
I had a question, Don. How are they gonna terminate on the side of Osborne?
I'm guessing that would be part of your demo plan, you'd have to remove to the existing edge of pavement?
Yes.
And then
It'll
seed
just be a curb there?
There's not a curb on Osborne, right? All right.
No, there would be just a curb.
Yeah, we're
No,
showing.
well, on their parcel or on Osborne? Huh?
Right in the middle.
Well, there wouldn't be a curb on Osborne. 'cause it doesn't-
No, I meant, how are they gonna terminate their parking lot finish?
Oh, I believe it's gonna
At
be,
Osborne.
I believe it's gonna be curb and gutter, essentially close to the right-of-way line, so if you're looking at sheet 10 in our packet, and looking down at that hatched area, I believe that's curb.
That's correct.
Yeah, I think it's all gonna be wrapped curb.
Right, it's all wrapped
Interiors
curb.
of their site and then seated outside.
And that's all designed to allow for what we're confident that truck access to get.
Yeah.
So how is the seated area gonna be terminated at Osborne?
They'll have to blend it in, so I think what they're showing you.
It'll be
Yeah.
raised?
They'll have to do probably some minor grading through there to kind of tie it all in with their curb and with their, curb header and stuff like that. So I think before, without it in front of me, I think they had grading in the right of way to kind of blend it all together.
Correct, correct.
So.
There's gonna be grass there, right?
Yes.
Yeah, they're showing grass, and then hash mark is more a back-end area for the truck or something?
That's correct.
They're aware of it.
It allows access for a truck to make the turn.
Commercial.
We went through a lot of
To the east.
studies to make sure
Right.
for what needs to be for delivery.
So the exit will be closed off by some sort of a curb, grass, and then Osborne Street, and the trucks can back into that section there so that they can make their turnaround or do whatever they have to do.
That's correct,
So they
yes.
can leave.
Yeah.
And they unload on the south end of the building.
My only question would be, do you want them to extend sidewalk down Osborne to their property?
Well, yeah.
Is there sidewalk there now?
No.
On Osborne or no?
On Osborne, no. I mean, it would tie into the 133rd sidewalk and terminate at their southwest corner, if you made them put it in. Technically, it would be considered an improvement on a public right-of-way, so. Otherwise, it would require just a waiver, but that's a policy decision.
Is it a big deal to do that?
The sidewalk?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think the sidewalk's a big deal.
Okay.
You know, improving the entire street was something that we went back and forth with for a while. It's why we were gone, what they wanted to do and how they wanted to go about doing it. And declined that, but a sidewalk is a reasonable request.
So then we'd like to see sidewalk there.
Understood.
And eventually, somewhere down the future, 50, 70 years, there'll be sidewalks all the way down through there.
Oh, God, only 57.
And when that happens, I want you to be at the dedication.
I don't think I could be, but I don't think I will be.
Will there be a privacy fence between your lot and the house to the east?
Yes, I think if you recall at the last meeting, we said that we were gonna put a fence up for that.
Yeah, they were talking about.
I think it's a residential parcel, but I think it's actually commercially zoned.
It is commercially zoned,
Yeah.
and we said we'd put a board-on-board fence along the length of our east property line.
What about the south side?
Same.
Same thing.
Same.
South side's actually residential.
Yeah, that
Right.
is residential, yeah.
Yeah, it would be a board-on-board fence along the east and along the south.
And the other property's B3.
Yeah, but it's a residential use, so, yeah.
Yeah, screw those guys. Just kidding.
Add the sidewalk and I'm happy.
And I think eventually, down on 133rd, those houses eventually someday will all become businesses.
50 to 75 years.
50 to 70 years.
Maybe not that long.
It won't be that long.
No.
Maybe 60.
One good one, Rosalie.
So Don, there's nothing more you have to review or do, or?
I mean, we still have our comment letter from October, and I think Mr. Colbar is trying to get a good feeling that you're good with the site plan, and he'll engage his engineers to address that, and we'll keep moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be ready for obviously next meeting, but maybe February, if we can get through it.
Since we're not gonna be to BZA in February, we're trying to tie it all up so that we have a, hopefully, early spring start.
Well, would there be any need for him to be back at a work session? Because we can't do anything until he goes through BZA.
I think that's up to you, if you wanna see it again, or...
If I'm just showing a sidewalk, I can show a sidewalk.
I'd say only if there's a hangup at the BZA.
The variances, Don, Ashley, are only for front yard, side yard?
Well, that's
I
true.
believe so, Ashley, you might know that more than me.
The front yard setback and reduction in the east, side yard setback.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Oh, he's 22 parking spots.
I didn't hear what you
Because they barely
Right.
She says the.
Yeah,
front
we
yard
need a
and
parking,
east
if
side
you
yard.
recall, both of these concerns,
Oh, very
there's no public, they're takeout, carry out only.
Okay.
So there's no seating, there's no real public area, so it's just really some staff.
And I'm getting all kinds of comments from the community, they're excited about the wings.
Who doesn't like wings, you know?
But a lot of them don't realize this Jet Pizza, I Googled that, and it's a chain that's in the area.
It's a chain that's expanding in the Midwest. And just so you know, the owners of the property, the developers of the property are also the franchisees. Like, it's their whole concern, so
Yeah,
they're
but
here to stay.
they want to sell Detroit-style pizza in Chicago-style area.
But have you had it? It's really good.
It's really good.
Yeah, it's really good.
It's really good.
I saw one of those somewhere recently. Is there one in the region somewhere?
Several of them.
Cherville, right?
Cherville's one, and there's one, I forget where it is now, that they own, it's the very south side of Chicago. It's not in Indiana, but they're expanding into this market.
There's a lot in Chicago, there's a lot in the suburbs.
Yes.
I had it in Fort Myers, where I live.
Yeah, as far as the wings, the gentlemen that are the franchisees are one of the, I think, the largest franchisees of Wingstop in Chicagoland, so they're just expanding their footprint. So they're very good operators, and they're good at what they do.
Well, okay, so I guess, I don't think we need to see him at a work session.
I don't think so.
No, we'll see, I'll see you at the
Yeah. BZA, and then we'll,
DDR.
drawings to match this.
DDR Kraken, we'll go from there.
You
Okay,
also
so-
see Jim there, he's on the BGA too now.
Very good, look forward to seeing you gentlemen, and we're very excited to move this forward.
We're not this nice at the BZA.
Well, I appreciate you hearing me with my target, so I
No
apologize.
problem, no problem.
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Okay, moving on. Nick Recupero asked about, he's trying to put together or coordinate with, I don't know, with Dave and Ed on, training. And he would like to know, I mentioned this to you guys last time, if you have any areas of training that you would like to see brought up at this training meeting.
I know one of the things he wants is unsafe building meeting training. Help me, Chuck. Something with AIM.
Yeah, the AIM's got,
AIM training.
yeah,
The what?
AIM's got a training, well, the video he sent was, for unsafe. The link.
They got a lot of training webinars, really newly elected officials and.
Unsafe and you
Are
had
we talking about
questions?
unsafe now, or are we talking about training?
Well, what you want to hear?
Actually, all the boards and commissions, he wants to have training.
Yeah.
Which, it makes really good sense.
Do you have questions on unsafe that you want to find out on, or?
I don't have questions, I have issues, I don't have questions.
Well, okay. Okay.
Well, maybe I'll.
After you get the
I'm
training.
not touching that.
After you get the training, you won't
I've
be
been
able
vocal about
to.
my concerns, it's no secret.
Okay.
I had one question. Don, this Lindsay Porter property, the satellite view that's in blue, the vacation is shown on the south end, but it also shows the property out in the middle of 141st in about 5/8 of it.
They'll dedicate that right away.
And then what about on the left side? What's the name of that road there? That looks like
Berkeley, so that's
it's an unimproved
an
road?
unimproved right away that
Is
most
that being
likely,
vacated also?
I believe so. Jack?
No.
No? Okay,
That was
no.
not.
Yeah, because that,
But it's shown on here like it is.
there was discussion about it, well, they're actually dedicating it, not vacating it. Because I think it would have created a landlocked parcel somewhere on the west side.
Oh.
I don't think we could. So, I think that was the, gist of that.
Who's dedicating it?
I mean, it says right now, it's not here to dedicate, it's by dedicated, so, we'll clean that up if we need to change it.
Yeah, so I can speak to that a little bit. The, Berkeley Place is, it's an area that we're not sure if it's actually reported as a public right-of-way or not, but it's apparent, and so that's what we show there. And what we're doing is we're making it official on this plat by saying, it appears that there's right-of-way there, it's a little unclear to us, so we're just gonna re-grant it on this plat.
Yeah, we'll have to look at that. I mean, I'm sure you have title work on it too, and.
Yeah, so I mean, when you look at, that's an unrecorded subdivision. This one of the old county subdivisions are unrecorded, so you can't really actually get line work on that. But it's apparent that there's something there. And we're saying, we'll just dedicate it officially on this plat. The parcel, the stuff along the south,
You're gonna warranty.
there's no need for Louise Drive anymore.
You're gonna provide warranty to it, of course.
Yeah. So we prepared initially, so Nathan, this is also involved on this parcel, and we prepared vacation documents for him, and I believe he filed that petition.
Okay.
Yeah, Ashley?
The vacation petition has been filed and, sent over to Mr. Austin's office.
Notice for public hearing.
Yeah, that's a separate petition as well. And we're uninvolved with
So
that.
that's separate from what's on, subdivision plat?
What was that?
That's a separate item from what is on the subdivision plat?
Correct, yeah, we're uninvolved with the BPA stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I believe those requests are really immaterial to creating the one-lot subdivision. But I think they're use type things. I'm not even sure whether or not.
I haven't seen it, so I don't know.
The public comment?
Are we good? No,
Thank you.
I want to finish my training.
Okay.
I don't know how I got off. This new board is really terrible.
I think you need some training.
Sensitivity training.
New commission, I mean.
Blame it on the new guy.
Yeah. I would also like to see something brought up about PUDs. A little more, how's it beneficial to the town? How's it beneficial to the developer?
That's a good point.
What are the pros and cons of PUDs, and what exactly is the intent of PUDs? I did some reading on it, and I'm a little confused as to the way the internet says what it is. So I'd like to see something on PUDs. Is there anything else anybody would like to hear? Find out about?
May I suggest
Yes.
utilities as it pertains to planning and zoning and development?
Yes.
Good point.
Is that training, or is that just having Neil come and,
I didn't say Neil. I don't know if that's up to you, if you want Neil to do it.
no, I don't want him to train us, I would just like to see his face and have a conversation with him.
Oh, well, that's different, I would say. And having him here for that discussion is important.
Yeah, think about things we go over in here that we question a lot, and, let's get clarification on it.
Well, you had a great example of that in the one petition tonight, where you started with utilities, you ended up with utilities, and you covered everything in between. That's, in essence, that's it.
I'd like to see us get more information on the water and the sewage thing, and the lighthouse well over here, it's been up in the air for a long time. We really don't know anything about it on the planning commission, I don't believe.
Yeah, we need to be informed.
Well, he mentioned utilities, so that would cover, I think, water and sewer, what have you. Anything else? No?
No, sir.
Do I have to give Nick a call, or is he talking to you about this? Okay.
I'm talking to Nick, yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I don't have to call him and tell him what we just talked about?
Well, you can if you want, of course, John, but I'm talking with him about this.
Yeah, okay, just so I know he's gonna get the message, I'll give him a jingle too, but just so it's not,
He's probably watching.
lost. Pardon?
He's probably watching.
Hi, Nick.
I would be more concerned about the amount of time it'll take in getting a scheduling for it. For probably several of these topics, they're pretty standalone, particularly if there are a lot of questions,
Okay, yeah.
so.
He's
Good. I got one other thing too. I don't understand what this one lot subdivision, all this stuff is one lot subdivision. Everything seems to cover everything that pertains to one lot subdivision.
Dave is working on some of that as we speak, hoping to simplify maybe some of these processes or adjust them based on situations or something, in some cases.
Every time you try and find cover from an issue, it always finds you. One lot subdivision, that's found.
The original intention was to clean up some of the mess that was left. And then I think
Cleaner identification of properties, application of ordinances to the properties when property owners are trying to do something, whatever it is, addition, new house, new business. So
we were trying to have them clean up the property, but then that included a process, and now we have found that the process isn't always maybe necessary or could maybe be simplified. Is that a good summary?
yeah, or have a path to it.
Quicker path.
Path to freedom.
I got one more thing. Are we gonna start following the ordinance where we have to have all the paperwork in? By,
Let's see what Don thinks about that.
What?
You, wanna follow the ordinance on deadlines to have stuff turned in before they hit a public meeting, so you're not getting everything crammed on you at the end?
Haven't we talked about this for 4 years?
Yeah, I didn't know we were not following that.
We did it for Don.
Isn't that what you've been doing?
Thought. I mean, I get are you talking about getting like my information in?
Well, like a 7-day deadline for everything to be submitted before a public meeting. It has to all be submitted by Tuesday or Wednesday.
I mean, for anything to make the agenda, it has to be in order and be to Ashley by noon on Friday before.
well, I thought the ordinance was either Tuesday or Wednesday.
No, it's been Friday.
It's been Friday for a
Well,
while.
what's the ordinance
say, Dave?
Oh,
I think it's Friday.
we said Friday.
Because I thought we were gonna try to make it earlier.
Ashley gets it on Friday, when do you get it?
Custom and practice have changed it.
I'd send her, I mean, she gets stuff individually that I don't see sometimes, but my letters, if they're not in to her by noon on Friday, it doesn't make the packet. I don't know if you're saying if that letter doesn't make the packet, they don't make the agenda, that's a different question.
Do we need a harder deadline than that, though, say like Wednesday or?
I'm fine with that.
Say 7 days before the meeting, town council, Tuesday.
Go ahead, Ashley.
So our planning commission rules and regulations technically say that I'm supposed to have everything in and packets and agenda turned out 2 days prior. It has always been the working practice of the planning commission that everything in order to make the agenda in the packet has to be turned in the Friday prior so that you guys have the weekend to then review and look at the package agendas and all documents incorporated into that so you have enough time to make an informed decision. The town code for town council says that any item has to be submitted 5 business days prior to the meeting. If that is the wishes of the planning commission, we can adjust our filing deadline, submission deadline for packet material items to be that 5 business days. Otherwise, filing deadlines for new petitions are Friday, the month prior to the meeting, they want to appear by noon. So for example, this upcoming Friday, January 5th at noon, pardon me, is the filing deadline for either the February meeting for Planning Commission or BZA.
We can talk about that later, but I think it'd be better for everybody to have more time. The more time, the better.
Well, I think
I
that,
don't disagree.
I think that commissioners need a little more time too, because fortunately, I don't work, so I can look at it as soon as I get the stuff. But if you got people up here, everybody up here other than Jim work. Oh, you don't work, do you, Bob? No.
I work for the town.
So, but I think they need a little more time too, because with their busy schedules, what they do, I think that would be helpful too.
It's not fair for the, fair is not a good word, it's not efficient for Don to get something on Friday and have to cram through 47 things before we can get an opinion from him. And it seems like there's always somebody wanting to jam something in at the end because either they forget to do it or busy or whatever. And then you got the serial people who always want to get special treatment. And just a hard inline deadline makes it fair for everybody, gives everybody the time they need to absorb what they need to absorb, and we don't have the cram downs all the time.
I think, Greg, unless it's a special case, we take every application in order that it's done, and we get it done as fast as we can, but we're also not gonna be at work till 2 a.m. to try to get it out.
Then why would you?
I know. So, I mean, yeah.
You think you're supposed to have a
lunch.
spend time with the family and stuff? Make it easier for your staff too, I think, Dave.
Already have a fire drill in my office because of the way it is administered. shadow waste. I mean, people trying to get things in, you get it done by noon, and it just gets crazy.
Yeah, I think we just get a better product at the end if we take more time and have some sort of lengthier time to review for everyone.
This way staff's not here till 9 o'clock at night on Friday trying to send the stuff out.
Yeah, that happens once in a while.
Right.
So, I would just encourage you to think about that one lot subdivision process, and because for somebody who just wants to build a house, you just added another month to an already 4-month process.
Well, if they turned in on time, so you don't have to worry about it.
Well, no, but we're talking about the review time.
If it's something
Like,
simpler.
we turned it in 6 weeks early already. Because the deadline is January 5th for the March meeting, so that means you would be putting it on the April meeting for primary, May meeting for final, so it means if I start in December, turn something in January, it's not done until May for a 1-lot subdivision.
That's crazy.
Yeah, I think we're trying to figure that part out, but also that, I mean, I'll leave it at that.
So,
I think we should have
it's like,
that.
there's gotta be,
Some of that might work itself out with some tweaks. But, if it's something that's simple, and there's discussion, dialogue, I mean, I hate to even open the door for it, because, you know, you'll have somebody wanna do a 200-lot subdivision, and it just gets, everything comes in at the last minute,
Right.
and then we get a grant done.
A 200-lot subdivision is a completely different animal than a 1-lot subdivision.
Absolutely, I agree with that.
So, but you got rules that apply across the board.
Uniformly.
Right, so either, there's gotta be some consideration of both of those things.
Well, we'll leave the door open for discussion on this to figure out what be best for all. So if you want to send a short note on what you feel the timeline should be, because you deal with us a lot, the same with, is Jack still there? No, I think he left. He might want to do it, and give us an idea of what would work for, well, especially you for 1-lot subdivisions, and we can kick it around and go from there. We're not gonna figure it out tonight, but, but we know it's something we need to, we know it's something that we need to discuss. Okay, let's move on from here. Public comment.
There's nobody online, just a note.
Nobody online. Any public comment? Hello.
Hi, Angie Michaelajczyk, 12806 Lee Court. I'm going to try to keep this short, but I'm not understanding something that I've asked previously, and the question is, the last plan commission, we had went through some items, and Price Point Builders deferred it till today, and also today asked for a deferral. I received a notice to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, which was held on December 14th, which there he also deferred it until the next meeting. And after tonight's deferral, I'm just trying to understand on this Tuesday, so 2 days ago, and he left unfortunately, but Mr. Viss sent me out another notice to be at the BZA meeting on January 11th. So I don't understand how, if you guys are talking about a concept plan, but he's still trying to get a variance, I don't understand that process.
Mr. President, if I may.
And as long as you're going to speak, Ashley, it also says that I have, according to you and everyone, 10 days to respond to the new notice I got, but I got it Tuesday, and according to your office in the town, I have the Friday before, so really you're giving me 3 days if I have any additional written objections to the new variance that they're asking for. So
The BZA public hearing is for them to ask for a reduction in setback. They need, if the plan commission approves the plat, they would need that variance. So they're just looking at getting that variance, so if the plat can move forward, that they have that variance. They did have to re-advertise because the first original advertisement was incorrect. They had it to where instead of having a 40-foot building setback line off of Klein, they only had it at 30.
Ashley, I just want to stop you real quick. I think her question is why did she receive notice 3 days?
Yesterday.
Yesterday, before she was supposed to be at a meeting.
On January 11th.
I think her question is the length of notice.
It was like.
No, it's not.
It was like, it has to be 10 days or more.
Well, that's one part, but the whole concept that I'm trying to say is he's asking for a deferment. So if he's asking you for a deferment for a site plan, and you're talking about the road and other things, why is he continuing to try to have us get a variance?
I agree with you, frankly.
And I don't understand why both commissions are involved, because, I mean, I've been going back and forth with this, you all know, for a little bit, and it just keeps getting deferred, which I appreciate that everything's addressed, which brings me to the last Plan Commission hearing. Mr. Hunley asked if he could get a list of all the things that they found out of all the things that I had said that was going on the property, as far as some things, and I don't even know if a list was brought up. All that Mr. Viss said was something about the carport, which obviously is the easiest thing, but, I mean, there's a big shed right next to a telephone pole, there's electricity going to it, there's all kinds of things, and I'm not trying to say, well, you know, but the big thing, which takes me to Mr. Oliphant, you're saying that you don't see any drainage issues? Did you go to the property, or?
I didn't say that.
Oh, you did not say that?
No, we've done kind of an office overview with some of
Yes.
the original plans from Lee's Cove and some of the topo we have.
Yes, sir.
And I said, I actually wanted to go out there and set foot on it.
Yes, thank you, I appreciate
So I have
that.
an initial email to Ashley based on that review.
Yes.
And then we'd also like to go out there and just get eyes on it, because we're looking at plans from 2007.
Yes.
I don't know if it was constructed like it was supposed to, you know.
Thank you. I got the
I wanna
plans
get-
too,
I wanna get
and
boots
it
on the ground,
wasn't.
so.
Yes. Okay, which brings me to, gosh, I lost my train of thought. There was the one thing that you had mentioned about,
Can I pause you for a second?
yes,
though?
ma'am, yes, please.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I
No.
also don't want to leave this to go.
Yes.
We talked about this before with deferrals. At what point can these people be taken off the agenda with a list of items that they need to take care
Yeah, 'cause
of
he was,
to stop wasting your time?
well, he was saying it was just because of health reasons but there's way more major stuff, which brings me to, I did remember, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. These items are in the drainage easement, and I don't know if and I submitted all this stuff with a written objection, and it's to my understanding, and it was also talked about, that all of you would have a copy of my written objections with the photographs in the meeting minutes, which I don't even know if you have the meeting minutes, and unfortunately you weren't here the last time I spoke, so I understand you have a lot of work to do.
I've heard some of it.
Yeah, so, you know, it's gonna be 30 days that he's gonna be able to do anything, the neighbor. I mean, the items you're looking at, you're talking, what, it's winter, months? But yet he's still asking for a variance in what, 7 days? 6 days?
Mr. Austin, I have a question.
I just don't understand this. Thank you.
If there's pending citations there, as Mr. Viss had kind of alluded to, Mr. Kubiak said this has to go, or whatever's going on, if there's citations on that property, how can the BZA be making decisions about
Probably
vacating
can't.
things?
You probably can't.
BZA probably needs to be made aware of all that.
You can also impose
You-
conditions.
And I probably have it in the stack of stuff. I think Bob did you have the photographs earlier, Bob?
Yeah, I got them on my phone.
I think, maybe send those to John and let him distribute them to the other BZA members, so we make sure that they get a close-up.
I don't understand why he's not taken off the agenda at this point. He has.
Well, the other thing too is he said that somebody was there the following morning, as you all requested. There was nobody there the following morning,
I was.
just Mr. Parker. There was no one from the town.
When did Kubiak go? Not.
I went out there too.
Yes, sir, I remember, I saw y'all. And you know what's happening now is he put a no trespassing on Klein Avenue. Now cars are getting stuck between Klein Avenue and the no trespassing sign, and they can't turn around. It's a mess. I'm waiting to go take a picture of an accident for you. Sorry.
That's,
And the BZA did have all my written objections, because that's who I wrote it for. And do I write them again? or will my
I'll
first
send out
written
the
objection
Ashley
go with this
from the
one?
package.
Okay, I'm sending them to you right now.
Why is he not off of the agenda? Why are we still talking about this?
Can we take him off the agenda, Dave?
You can notice him that you're removing him due to code compliance or non-compliance.
Misuse of the property.
You can do that.
I don't know why anyone is wasting their time, whether it be us, the BZA, and most importantly, you and your neighbors. Why are we talking about this right now? He needs to get his stuff cleaned up.
To enforce a zoning violation, which is what this is, the condition of the property and the junk and the garbage and
Ashley, is there any
all of that.
written documentation?
Ashley
That
said
has-
he was
that
told
has-
8 months ago about what we're talking about, you remember?
Hold on.
Notice has to be-
Ashley, is there any documentation in this building regarding what he was told recently?
There has been nothing written. I can send Tim or Becca to take a check and see if he's made it into compliance. If not, I can send a written formal notice to Mr. Young telling him that the property needs to be brought into compliance within 10 business days, so if not, he can find.
Well, it was confirmed by Mr. Viss today that it's not taken care of. So I think we just skip the site visit and send the notice. His lawyer confirmed today it wasn't taken care of.
Dave, can this be put on the agenda in 2 weeks and they can essentially take action on it
You can,
to remove it?
you could.
You have to put it back on the agenda to remove it.
Well, you can't really take action on stuff tonight, formal action, it has
That's
to
how
be
you
in 2
make
weeks.
record though, Heather, on
Yeah.
this. It's
Yeah,
part of
actually,
the
it has to be
process
a public
notice.
I just hate to waste everyone's time.
It
great
is
idea.
waste-
Just
It
a
is a
lot.
waste of time.
It's a great
It
If
is.
I'm standing in front of a judge, I gotta tell him and show him or her.
I understand. It's aggravating though.
I have a question for Mr. Austin. Because this is still a concept plan and has never been properly noticed because it's not gone for public hearing at plan commission. Do they need to take action at a public meeting?
I recommend they do, so the record is made, and the trail is followed. We're meeting anyway, so it's an agenda item.
Contingent
It won't be on next,
on each other.
it won't be on the agenda in 2 weeks, will it?
I actually hope it will be, but you don't have to.
He's saying put it on the agenda, so
Yeah,
we'll take it
well,
off the
that's,
agenda.
that's what I'm getting at.
So you-
So what I usually do is after like 3 or 4 times at no shows,
Just keep it a
then I have them removed from the agenda.
No, and that's right, John, and don't stop that.
Yeah,
But we're talking about code violations against a
yeah.
property and
It wasn't a no
impact
show
on
when he showed
an
up.
adjacent property owner, and that's what zoning law is about.
Right, and Tim Kubiak was there and looked at it, and they should have had action taken off of that.
Did he write anything down?
I don't know, but based on what this said tonight, he told them to get rid of the carport or something, you know. So, I mean, and as far as you getting your notices late, that notice is from this law, isn't it?
That's correct, and the envelope is
Okay,
dated
so-
December 29th.
Yeah?
I got it
Okay.
yesterday.
We have nothing to do with that. So you call
Right.
Mr. Viss and tell him if you want,
Well, he left before I could see.
it's got a phone number on
If
that.
that happens again, though,
No, sir, there's no phone number. It just says, notice of public hearing, developmental variance.
All right.
It's from the Board of Zoning Appeals. That's who it's from.
This law is in the phone book, so you need to call him and tell him your complaint about that, because we have nothing to do with that notice. Nothing, that's from him.
But it says to be here January 11th in the Cedar Lake Town Hall.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I don't understand what you're
But
saying.
who's the letter from? Who's that letter from?
It's from this law, but it says on the end, Board of Zoning Appeals, Cedar Lake. That's who it says it's from. The envelope is from this law, the letter's from Cedar Lake.
That's a petitioner prepared document, that's how the law prescribes it. He is the petitioner on behalf of his client, and that notice is issued by him to the property owners who are on the list of adjacent property.
Would you like to see it said
No,
from Cedar Lake?
no, my point being is, we did not mail you that letter.
I understand that, sir. Thank
Okay,
you.
so call the person who mailed you that letter and tell them they're not mailing it in sufficient enough time for you to comply with the regulations. That's all I'm telling you to do.
But
is there a
it's on the-
timeline on when that letter
But
has
on
to
the
be
January
received?
11th agenda for the BZA, it's on there.
Whatever. We're done with that.
10 days
All right,
before a
let's move
public,
on.
well, I
Okay.
mean,
10
Look.
days or more.
If she doesn't receive it 10 days before the public hearing, then the public hearing shouldn't be held.
Okay.
Mr. President?
That's why, as
Hang
you
on,
recall,
actually.
at every BZA meeting, you ask, or actually Jeff did,
Are they in order?
are the legals in order? That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking to make sure everything's mailed timely.
Mailed, not received.
Because the town gets back those green cards
Yes, it's
for certified mail.
It's when
And what
it's
he's
mailed.
saying is if our legals in order, meaning has everyone received timely notice
They
of that?
emailed it.
Now, it's not when you go pick it up, it's when they sent it, and that should be 10 days. So you're correct, if you did not receive it
Yes.
within 10 days, that's wrong.
Right,
But no,
and
it's mail date.
Mailed, when was it mailed?
it says December 29th.
So you had a certified notice given to you on December 29th.
No, yesterday.
But it's
Well, that's
when
probably post office
it's the
issue then.
post-
Well, no, because
Those
29, 30,
policies are
31,
there
the
too,
first,
so,
it's the weekend, it was just,
Mail, post office.
And to her point, which I think we're getting a little bit lost in, he's been using this property for a construction storage site in a residential
Probably 20 years.
in a residential zoning district. I mean, they're dragging stuff in and out of there across the dirt road, there's mud, ruts, everything else in there. And then he's trailing all that out onto the roadway, Klein Avenue. It's not an improved street, it's not a legal access, even though it has a cutout, because there's no reason to be in there. And it's basically, in her mind, I believe, being kind of ignored. And if there wasn't any documentation done on the visit out there, well, that's an issue too. So, and do we document things when we go out and see people?
Pretty easy these days to do that. Everybody carries a cell phone with a camera.
I didn't take pictures there, because I already saw the pictures before I went there. But it was pretty much how it was described and how the pictures portrayed it. So, I guess that process at some point needs to be cleaned up too, because if we're gonna get things right around here, we need to be documenting stuff.
So Ashley had mentioned a Plan B, and Dave, you kind of gave it the thumbs up. That was to have her send him a letter?
Yes.
Okay.
Zoning ordinance will be enforced by us.
Can you get with Ashley and have her,
Absolutely. She has, and in fact, I think she has the format.
okay,
But
excellent.
I'll review it with her.
Excellent. And actually, if Tim's got anything at all, that'd be great.
There was also, the day that I visited, Bob, you probably saw this too, there's a short box truck container that somebody's got over there too.
There's like 3 boxes.
That was there, you said that, right, last time you were here?
Yeah.
That was
yes.
And I don't think that's allowed anywhere, much less in a subdivision that's less than 15 years old. You know, if it was there 40, 50 years ago and it didn't get addressed, I suppose it's legal non-existing or legal non-conforming. But that subdivision's not that old, and that's the kind of stuff you got over there.
2006-ish?
Yeah,
Back there.
yeah, that.
2010 is when they said my home was built.
Should be up there.
Ashley, did you hear what Mr. Austin, said he would, get with you regarding the form letter?
It's the age of my home.
Yeah, I
Okay.
pretty much have a form letter, but I can get with Mr. Austin on this item and work with
Okay.
him.
Excellent. Thank you, Ashley.
I sent it to Ashley.
Thank you very much.
Hopefully the police department's not.
So can I, real quickly, when it comes to
Kim
notices,
was supposed to go out
the way it's been interpreted is they have to be mailed out a minimum of 10 days prior to the public meeting. So technically, notices should have been mailed out Monday, which was a holiday, that was never gonna work. I always tell people to send them out at minimum 3 days prior to when it actually physically needs to be mailed out and noticed. You, as a person who receives notice, don't have to have something to me Friday prior if you wanted to go written correspondence in front of the board. I can receive it day of, and I will still provide that to that board. The lady who told you that information thought you were asking when the petitioner has to have something to me by. It's only petitioners who have to have information to me the Friday the meeting, Friday noon prior to the meeting. You, as a remonstrator, can get something to me day one.
Okay, I appreciate all that. So the written objections that I wrote before will follow along with this one, right? I don't have to write new ones with all the stuff I just wrote?
No, I will make sure they're redistributed to the BZA in their packet. When that goes out
So
Friday.
we include it in the record, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. And when will the minutes come out for the last meeting?
The BZA minutes will be, as long as I have time to proofread them, I have been out sick, my apologies. As long as I have time to proofread them and get them on their agenda, the BZA minutes from December will be on their January agenda.
For approval.
Okay.
For approval.
And so this,
Yes, ma'am.
so the last plan commission work session meetings will be next month?
The December 6th, Cheryl, correct me if I'm wrong, those are ready to go for their January meeting?
You were here, wasn't it the 20th you were here, the
Yeah,
last
they
meeting?
should be.
I don't
Or was it
know.
the first
The
meeting?
14th was the BZA meeting, and it was prior to that, so
Okay.
I don't know when it was. 6th, 7th, 8th, I don't know. 9th. Okay, the bottom line is, you know, the notice is a notice. I did get all the plans from before, and it does show a house just directly off a Klein instead of behind. And I do have, even the, permit said the rear yard was gonna be 38 feet. It's less than 27 feet. There's just a lot of information here too, that I'm sure you'll look at, and I appreciate that. And, I like this board very much because I am able to talk to you. Mr. Colbar, I'm sorry that you got frustrated. I'm frustrated too. The bottom line, and no disrespect to any of you, and welcome both of you. None of this, I would not have to do any of this if the ordinance were just followed. People didn't violate this stuff. No disrespect to you, if engineering was followed through when they built the homes, if there were inspections done, if these things were, in my opinion, if these things were being done by the town, there's no reason for me to be standing here right now.
These two properties are part of Lee Cove?
No,
No.
They're not part of Lee Cove.
they're not.
They're annexed. Yeah.
They were originally owned by the developer, and he did not plat them as part
So
of
thank you for listening. I don't,
It's a weird shaped piece of property too.
Yes.
what do I do on the 11th?
So is he still coming to the BZA then, knowing that there's code violations?
My understanding is he'll be here.
So will I.
Well, if he shows up at the BZA, I would think that we would have to, we could entertain making any decisions because he has violations on the property. And, he really hasn't presented or anything to this board or to this commission for us to look at to even see where the variances should be granted or not, or what for. You know,
John, he should be served notice of violations by then. So that's how the meeting would start, the hearing would start. Identification of that condition of the property, and that because of that condition, you are not gonna proceed.
Does that mean at that point he could ask for a deferral? Or does that mean
Well,
at that
good.
point the town can say, you know what, we're gonna remove you from all town agendas until you get your property cleaned up?
You can do any of them.
I would hope that's what we
Board of
do.
Equity.
so we can tell them because of violations on
Yeah,
that property.
And I would solicit a motion to do that and take a vote, put it on the record.
Okay.
What's the standard time frame? Tell me he's got 30 days or 10 days or 60 days, what's the rule of thumb?
There is no amount of time in the ordinance, excuse me. Standard depends upon what the violations are,
Okay.
the impact, if you will.
Well,
Actually, it mentioned 10 days.
10 days, if you remember the parcel up here on Moore Street, the old gas station, those are relatively short because everything was mobile on the property.
I got you.
But if he's removed, he would have to get that property where someone from the town goes back out and says, okay, you've removed everything, everything's out of the drainage,
Full circle.
and now you come and you reapply.
They talked about a topography report too, last session.
They did.
Can we get a written report or a written copy from the building department or the police department, what violations and what actions are being taken?
You'll be copied, Jim, on the notice of violation. You'll be copied.
Copy.
copy
that.
BZA plan?
Copy that.
Could be, yeah, however you want it.
Well, I think if he's in front of both boards right now, then both should be included.
Dave, too, and I don't know if this is the right forum for that, but it just jumped into my mind. There was a time that this builder was not allowed to build in Cedar Lake based on a myriad of reasons. Is there an expiration on that?
There is actually, and he has reinstated his good standing. But we did pull his contractor registration for demonstrated poor workmanship and quality. And that lasted a couple of years, 3 years maybe, 4 years. It was a while. It went a long time before he could pull a permit again. And he didn't like it.
The home I live in took over 5 years to be built.
Yep.
Okay.
Mr. Oliphant, I also, Mr. Cardigan had told me about you did something with stormwater. Or do you have a stormwater board? Are you part of that?
Yeah, there is a storm board.
Yeah, and are you part of that?
I sit on it, I'm not part of it.
Oh, you sit on the board?
I'm just a consultant for it.
Oh, okay.
Similar role here.
Okay,
He's an expert.
with taking the Price Point Builders and that property out of it, I would like to, find out how I could fix the property that I live on with the stormwater.
We have a meeting tomorrow.
Do I come?
Yeah,
Or is
you
it
can
just,
come.
okay.
You can come.
Stormwater board
Public
meeting is tomorrow.
Okay, and,
At 7 o'clock.
7 o'clock.
okay, well, you told me about it, what should I be prepared to do? Talk and
You have
ask
pictures?
for help,
You have
or?
pictures?
I got pictures.
Okay.
Usually what they
He
do,
should have them too.
you won't be on the agenda, but they have public comment, and when they do public comment, you come up and explain your situation.
Okay.
And then usually they put it on the agenda for the next month.
We'll look at it in between the two meetings and then have something for February.
Okay, I do have a set of copies of all the pictures, can I give them to you tonight?
Let's bring them tomorrow.
Just bring them tomorrow? Okay, so come back tomorrow for this situation? 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock?
7.
Okay, see you another night, thank you all.
Thank you.
Gail Brandon, 7014 West 139th Place. I just wondered if anyone has noticed the house hanging off the cliff over at the roundabout. That looks like a really dangerous situation. Somebody with dementia, a small child could walk off that, and it's dangerous. Isn't there something in our ordinances about, undermining or digging at that extreme, close to a building it looks like a dangerous situation. And I don't know who I would bring it up to.
Building department, I don't know what you're talking about, but that'd be building department, more unsafe, but I don't think that's this board.
Okay, I just thought somebody should have noticed it besides me, that
Yeah,
it presents a real serious safety problem.
We're talking about the house that's being remodeled.
The one on the roundabout.
Yeah.
It's an Airbnb.
Yeah, it's being remodeled.
Okay, and it's been, they undermined that until then, 10, 12 feet deep.
Domino's was gonna go or something like that?
Yeah.
Across from the chamber.
House in that wall there.
So I can bring it up to the building
Bring it to the
department?
building department, they'll
Well,
send
does
an
she need to
inspector
do
out
that, or
there.
can we just note it, like, while she's on right now, can we have her handle that tomorrow?
We can, I mean, I know what they're doing, they're installing a 10-foot high wall, so there's they have to follow safety provisions, but we also
There should
can't,
be a barrier at the top to prevent somebody from coming off from it even.
I mean, we can't tell somebody how to build stuff either. So, but if it is a safety issue and they violate local safety laws, then yeah, we can do it. But that would have to come from Tim's group, and they'd have to go out there and take a look at it and whatnot, so.
Is she talking about the building on the east side of the road or the west side of the road?
East side, part of Cedar View.
The one with the new windows is being remodeled,
Okay.
like Bob said, it's an Airbnb.
Yeah, the one behind the Domino's is being built.
Yeah, he owns the Domino's and he owns the house too.
Does anyone want to see the picture that hasn't drove to the roundabout?
Let me see it.
I guess technically it's a construction site, nobody should be messing around over there.
see that, Jim? Have you seen it?
I went by it today.
Yeah, we just got a dangerous situation, you should put up a security fence around it. Rent fence
The whole
all over the
construction
place. Yeah. I had to put them up when I had a kennel going, you know, so I mean, yeah, you wanna see it?
Oh my.
Do they got silt fences up over there yet?
No.
They got serpent.
Yeah, is that,
That's considered like,
I mean, we've inspected it with our staff, I don't know what the result of that, but it is being inspected.
that one keeps coming off.
that's
That one keeps
round,
coming off.
What about the east, what about
thing
that
that
mess
they
on the
put
east side?
there so the stuff doesn't come off.
Oh.
It's another
Never
device
ends.
that we use.
Remember I told you earlier?
Huh?
Remember I told you earlier?
Okay, any other
Okay.
public comment?
Right. Now getting hungry.
Hi, Jack. You beat Terry.
I'll be very quick,
Yes.
just for the record. I gave some information out of school to Heather regarding a number, and my math was wrong.
Oh, let me fix that one. Did you, okay, what you got? I'm ready to fix it.
You take a 0 off the number, and then you'll be closer, so it's
1,200?
not
1,200 doors.
Seems like.
I thought that was a little high.
That changes the game big time.
So that's only
And it was
600.
entirely new to Cedar Lake.
And that's not including what we.
I did the school year number.
Good.
Wow.
You should,
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen.
your review engineer for official information.
Yeah, I teach kindergarten, so this is way over my head.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Terry Broaders, 14513 Morris. I have no complaints tonight. I just wanted to add a little information to the last commenter. We talked about only one elevation that's really dangerous, but there's also the south side of that entire property is, the elevation is a vertical wall there too. And it's probably only about 3 and 4 feet in some areas, but they've graded the ground all the way to that side of that lot with a vertical 3-foot wall pushed up against a neighbor's fence, pretty much burying the fence already. Now, I don't know how they're gonna cut grass there. What they've created is a channel of water that's gonna run through that vertical wall and the building existing. And so I just wanted to make sure we get on the record today, it's not just a house on the hill that looks like it's gonna fall, but you have, I still can't even understand how it was approved at that grading level. Looks to me like they're gonna still add another 6 feet of curb, or 6 inches of curb, 3 inches of pavement inside that, which puts that thing probably 5 feet above the footing of the house next door. So when that certainly does slide, in that house, in some places, maybe less than 3 feet from the line, and it's existing. So again, we go back to trying to protect what's already there, right? And I just can't understand for the life of me how any of that was approved.
None of that was approved here though, sir. That was all at the building
I
department
understand
level.
that. Mrs.
None of us had
That's how I
anything to do with
understand it. I
that.
just wanted to make sure we get on the record to accompany what was already said with the property.
Sure.
And besides them, the elevations on that south side of the property, there's a retention pond on the west end of the property. Looks to me like they didn't use any clay. It almost looks like everything was piled up with black dirt. I don't know who in the heck approved that, Don, but there's gonna be, I mean, that water went through there all the time anyways. It traveled through there over ground, and the retention pond is in line of that natural waterway.
Correct.
And if it's not clay, that black dirt's gonna wash away eventually, and it's gonna wind up in a neighbor's backyard.
I'm not gonna speculate on what they're building right now, I'm not out there.
I'm just saying.
I mean, these
I'm telling you what I
plans have
saw them
been,
doing over the course of
vetted,
2 months.
and
I
just
watched them
because
building it.
in the middle of their construction, you don't like what you see, it's not even close to being finished, so give them some time.
Hold on, when they push the gravel up against the neighbor's fence and bury the fence, that
No, they
should
should
be
be
addressed.
staying on their parcel, but, and you're commenting about drainage, about going
No.
from there. There's gonna be curb and gutter, there's storm sewer back there, there's detention basins, give them some time to get into it.
The retention pond's already built, Don.
I know.
It's all black
Those-
dirt on the walls, what time gonna do?
Have
but
you been
let it
out
wash
there when they've
away?
been building it? I mean,
So are you saying they're gonna take out the black dirt walls and add clay and then rebuild the retention pond?
No.
Neither am I.
But you're just
I'm
looking
saying
at
that
something
the
and
black
assuming
dirt
it's
is
being
gonna be
built
dangerous
wrong.
to the neighbor's property, Don.
So-
You know it as well as I do.
You can't build a retention pond and hold back water with black dirt. You're an engineer, you know that.
I'm gonna get into it.
Can we move on?
Any other public comment? Any other public comment? Seeing none? The next meeting is, what is it? When's the next meeting?
17th, I think. Third.
June 17th.
17th. For your public hearing, Plan Commission, and 17th of this month, we're adjourned.